It's hard to believe it's week 5 in Ohio High School Athletic Association football action already, but indeed it is. Hello, everyone. I'm Glenn Olson alongside my partner, Chris Asbrock. Kyle Evans will be along on the sideline. Jason Dudley and another crew here to bring you another edition of ICRC-TV Sports Friday Night Football. Tonight it's the 1-3 Princeton Vikings hosting the highly rated, yet 2-2 Fairfield Indians. Chris, let's talk about things currently here in the GMC. This is week 3 of GMC action for these teams. New format this year. This is the first year of a 4-year experiment with an 8-game league schedule.
It is, and you know what? You mentioned week 5 already. You let that sink in. It's unbelievable how fast the time's gone. But overall, like you were saying with the experimental schedule here, the 8-game schedule. Some coaches love it. I mean, because it does provide a challenge. Others think that it's, it could be a little detrimental to, to like the fringe teams in the conference and possibly costing them a playoff berth.
Yeah, absolutely. I know we had Coach Kastner on our Gridiron Report show earlier in the year, and he said, in fact, that he thought it would cost a GMC team a postseason berth. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out over the next 6 weeks. Speaking of the GMC, we're going to go ahead and show you the league standings on the screen right now. And as you know, if you're any kind of high school football fan here in the Cincinnati area, the GMC has been absolutely dominated by Colerain since 1999. That's almost 2 decades of dominance by the program over on Cheviot Road.
Like they always say, to beat the man, or to be the man, you got to beat the man.
Exactly right.
Fortunately, nobody's been able to do that. Colerain is just, they're Colerain. That's all you can really say, and they've continued their dominance.
Yeah, Princeton did not get any favors schedule-wise this year with starting 4 on the road, which we'll talk about in a little bit. But one thing they did look out on is not having to face Colerain this year. Fairfield's not so lucky. They're going to face them in week 8, right in the heat of playoff season, and starting off 0-2, they're at a little bit of an uphill battle for the playoffs anyway, but strength of schedule ought to carry them.
That's very, very true, Glenn. Very true. Yeah, it does help out. Anytime you get that schedule when it comes out and you don't see Colerain on there, it's obviously beneficial for your team. But, the highly anticipated matchup, in week 8 between, Fairfield and Colerain is going to be fantastic.
Yeah, so one of 2 things are going to happen tonight. Fairfield's going to stay unbeaten in the GMC at 3-0 in league play, where Princeton's going to pick up their 2nd straight league win. Let's turn our attention first to the homestanding Princeton Vikings, where we have a lot to discuss. This was our first broadcast with Princeton this year, so a lot to talk about. Last season the Vikings should have made the playoffs under Pat McLaughlin, but a last-minute Harbin's point adjustment due to some shenanigans happening up north ended up costing the Vikings that spot. So what a heartbreaking sentiment to find out you're in and be told, no, you're not.
I know. For a storied program like Princeton, for them to, for that ratings adjustment, what a shame. Because, you start to see Princeton come back now to, hopefully to what the program, used to be. And again, it was heartbreaking for him last year. Pat McLaughlin did a fantastic job with this team last year, and now we transition over to a new staff and a new season.
So Pat McLaughlin, a familiar name to our ICRC viewers, was at Reading for a couple of years. Prior to that, was an offensive coordinator at Moeller. Came to take over the Vikings for a year. Then the LaSalle job opened up, and he opted to move west to take over the Lancers. So enter Princeton alum Mike Daniels.
Mike Daniels, he was there, graduated. He's a 2003 graduate of Princeton. I remember seeing him in high school when I was at Mason. So, he's got quite the resume. He was the 2002 Enquirer Player of the Year in the city of Cincinnati. That year he led the area with 2,569 passing yards.
Amazing.
And 19 touchdowns. So, again, Mike Daniels is just a fantastic, player. He was AP first team All-State, which is impressive in and of itself, and he was second among all Division I rushers with 1,387 yards and 24 touchdowns. So, Mike Daniels, again, quite the player when he was here at Princeton in the early 2000s.
Yeah, pretty high praise from then Colerain head coach Kerry Combs at the time, saying he was one of the best quarterbacks he'd ever seen play the game at the high school level. And thanks to our pal Adam Baum over at Enquirer.com for his preview article back in the spring, helping us dig up some of that information on Coach Daniels, making our life easier. But, after dazzling the area here at Pat Mancuso Field at Viking Stadium as a high school player, he went on to play down in Clifton at the University of Cincinnati, There he was a running back, a return man, a slot receiver. But then he caught the coaching bug, Chris.
That he did. He was a graduate assistant at UC for a season, then went to University of Buffalo, and then spent 3 seasons at Statesboro High School in Georgia before moving on to Kennesaw State University, where he was there for another 3 seasons. So, you can't get the coaching out of these guys sometimes, and this is the same situation here for Mike Daniels.
Yeah, it's pretty obvious Coach Daniels is one heck of a coach. He's going to bring a lot of enthusiasm and energy to this program. And we'll be looking forward to watching him here in the future on ICRC-TV Sports and Friday Night Football in particular. We know he can coach, but let's talk about some of the players that he will be coaching. Some of those he's inherited some talented players from Pat McLaughlin and Calvin Watkins before him. And quarterback Hosea Harrison's one of the leading passers in the GMC right now.
Yeah, he's currently 4th in the GMC right now with 419 passing yards and with 3 touchdowns and 2 interceptions. So he's had just a solid season so far to start off. Facing a kind of a tough schedule.
Right.
He's just under 105 yards passing per game, but he's a dual threat. And it seems to be the majority of the teams that we see a lot of these quarterbacks are dual threat quarterbacks,
yeah,
and that's exactly what Harrison is. He's got 289 rushing yards. He's averaging just over 72 yards rushing yards per game, which is currently 7th in the GMC. So he's a true dual threat.
Yeah.
Option there for Princeton.
And just to put that in perspective, with those rushing yards, that's only 15 yards less than Matt Sora is putting up in Mason right now. And, everyone, knows what a tremendous player the Matt Sora is. So here's the quarterback not far behind on his heels with what he's doing. He's also likes to throw the ball on the rollouts, Harrison does. He's going to give the defense some pause on those rollout passes, whether or not he's going to throw the ball or end up taking it off and running with it. And in the backfield, he's got a pair of guys that aren't too shabby themselves. And Davion Bryant and Tyree Sherman, both those guys have 176 yards rushing so far this season.
Yeah, pretty impressive. Bryant's got 19 carries so far. He's averaging 9.3 yards per carry, which is, that's an impressive number right there anytime you get the ball in his hands. Right. Sherman, he's averaging 4.7 yards per carry on 38 carries, so double the carries, but, just under or just over double the amounts there. So these guys are pretty much the same exact output, and you can't go wrong with any player like that.
Yeah, and Bryant did not play in the opener against West Claremont out in Union Township, so he's got one less game on his resume and still putting up those kind of numbers.
That's impressive. That's impressive.
So impressive to say the least. Speaking of impressive, this Vikings aerial attack really hasn't been a slouch in and of itself. They're 5th currently in the GMC in passing, and if you take out that high-flying attack over at Oak Hills with Jacob Boyke, they're only 7 yards off the passing leader, if you take Oak Hills out of the equation.
Yeah, that's impressive because, Oak Hills, as we all know, is, they're that team that they fling it around. So when you're that close to a team, who puts up those kind of stats, that just shows what kind of offense you really are. So, this is definitely a really good matchup, between these two teams.
Yeah. Oak Hills has 3 of the 5 leading receivers in the GMC with Boyke. So for Princeton to kind of be in the mix, right on those guys' heels, I think says a lot about them. Let's talk defensively now for Princeton. Maybe not as impressive as they are on offense, but still managed to get the job done with a 2-2 record in this point. When you look at team defensive categories, they're in that 6th or 7th spot, so kind of in the bottom third of the GMC. But, man, do they have a monster in Quincy Dawson.
Quincy Dawson, he's 2nd in the GMC with 22 solo tackles. That's getting it done.
Yeah, for sure.
He's got 13 assisted tackles as well. So he's 2nd overall in the GMC defensively with 34 tackles. That's impressive. You can't really say much more than that. Quincy Dawson is, he gets the job done defensively for him. On the secondary, Jadon Say and Jared Thomas both have 2 interceptions. A couple guys, they've chipped in with 1 as well. So, this is a tough defensive unit here for Princeton.
Yeah, with 6 interceptions so far through 4 games, you're not going to be able just to throw the ball on them and not worry about it getting picked off. So, let's turn over to the visiting Fairfield Indians now, one of the higher-rated teams in the city coming into this game. Chris and I were talking off the air before we started here, just, brutal non-conference schedule in Centerville and Dayton Northmont. They lost those 2 games, but not blown out by any stretch.
No, not at all.
In those games. Last season they were 7-4, had the unlucky playoff pairing and drawing eventual state champ St. X in the first round of the playoffs, and what a game that was. I remember following that game on Twitter, and it was just back and forth, brutal all night. Head coach Jason Krause told Rick Casano, the veteran preps writer of the Journal News up in Butler County, that this is potentially one of the best teams he's had in his 7 years at the helm of the Fairfield program. Fairfield is fourth in the GMC with just under 314 yards per game in offense. They're third in points scored, with 102 points so far. That averages out to about 25 points a game if my Bowling Green math doesn't fail me there. But there are two guys on this team that anyone who follows high school football in Cincinnati knows, and those are Jack Carmen and Malik Van.
Yeah, the offense is pretty much led by Jack Carmen. He's a five-star offensive tackle. You know, obviously he plays on the left side, protecting the blind side of the quarterback. He's ESPN's #1 offensive lineman in the nation. He's
walked by right on cue.
Yeah, exactly. I know, it worked out perfect. Absolute beast. I mean, he's just fantastic. And, you know, he's being highly recruited right now by Ohio State, Clemson, Florida State, Wisconsin, and USC. And he actually had a USC shirt on as he was walking in. So, you know, hey, maybe out west, or they're pretty Clay Helton might be a little excited there on that one. But, I mean, he's just just an absolute beast on the offensive line. You can't say much more. Again, to be the #1 offensive lineman in the country
it's amazing.
is saying a lot. And he's going to be playing in the U.S. Army All-American Bowl. He just got his jersey. It was just, I think, in a ceremony that was done. I think it was last week.
Past Wednesday, yeah.
So, you know, good on him. He's, you know, it's definitely hard work's going to pay off for him.
He's an impressive guy. I don't know if he was in the shot or not as he walked by, but we'll see him on the game tonight, obviously, at the left tackle position. And 6'4", 350 pounds, just absolutely amazing. We'll save our thoughts on the Twitter controversy for later in the broadcast with Ohio State's Kirk Herbstreit. But anyway, talk about Malik Van a little bit, Chris.
Malik Van, he's another guy. I mean, all you can do is just say, wow. I mean, he's impressive. I mean, defensive end, he can play all around. He's the 12th ranked defensive end in the country by 24/7 Sports. He's all GMC, like it seems like every year. Yeah. He's first team all district. I mean, he gets the job done. Another highly recruited player. He's chose to stay home. Big get for Luke Fickle in the University of Cincinnati. Yeah. I was a little surprised when he said he was staying home. Good on Malik Van for staying home and playing, but he's going to be one to watch defensively. He's going to be wreaking havoc all night long. Yeah. So he's another one to watch out for.
Yeah, 12th ranked player in the state of Ohio overall, and he had some, the bigger programs knocking on his doorsteps, the Alabamas and folks like that. So certainly no slight intended toward UC and Coach Luke Fickle. He's obviously doing his best to turn that program around and get him back to a level where he thinks they need to be. But
bringing in guys like Malik, it's going to help out.
Right, and some other guys, if you follow the recruiting scene here locally, have hopped on board as well. Some of the local talent. So, yeah, great job by Luke Fickle, and we're excited to see two highly ranked players, take the field here tonight. Let's talk offensively some more about the Fairfield Indians. Their quarterback is junior Jeff Tyus. He started 2 games last year. Less than a 50% completion rating right now, but he's got 4 touchdown throws, a couple more on the ground, and he's got a weapon in the backfield himself.
Yeah, sophomore Juthan McLean, he can run or catch it. He's another dual threat option out of the backfield. 51 rushes for 412 yards. He's averaging 103 yards per game, 4 rushing touchdowns. He's also got 7 catches out of the backfield for 98 yards. I mean, and that's with 1 touchdown reception. So another threat out of the backfield for Fairfield. So.
Yeah, Princeton can't sleep on this unit by any means. No. That's for sure. Defensively, we talked about Malik Van. The rest of this defensive unit, no slouch either, Chris.
Yeah, 4th in the GMC, 246 yards per game that they're averaging. Again, a very tough unit. Rushing yards, I mean, they only, just averaging over 106 yards per game. It's behind Colerain's defensive unit, which is also fantastic. Yeah. They could be. They're vulnerable over the top, possibly. Right. They've given up an average of 153.8 yards per game. So it's going to be interesting to see what goes on there. But defensively, if you hope to get the ball, moving on the ground, it's going to be pretty tough. But look for Princeton and try and air it out as much as they can. Yeah,
they're going to have to keep Jose Hairston upright and Malik Van away from them. That's going to be the big task tonight.
Good luck with that.
If they choose to go up top. So, you'd mentioned that Colerain stat. Colerain averaging 78 yards a game is what they're giving up in rushing right now, and Fairfield right behind them at number 2. So they're in good company in that regard. Let's talk about something that we don't tend to talk about a lot. Let's talk about special teams. That's been a strength for the Vikings the past couple of years. Honestly, Raymond Kozlowski was a punter and kicker here for the last couple of years. He's graduated. Princeton's kicker is senior Zachary Lacey. He's perfect right now on his point after tries, 14 for 14. Also, has made one field goal. He's 1 for 1 on his field goals right now.
That's, you always got to count on that senior leadership,
Yeah.
To help carry it. Especially special teams can win you or lose you a game. That's, in this case, you've got that senior leadership on that side of the ball. So, they're definitely going to be relying heavily on him.
Yeah, and for Fairfield's kicker, Chris.
Freshman, Nick Matty.
2
for 2 on field goal attempts. He's 8 for 11 on extra point attempts. So that could be, that's going to be something to watch out for. If this game is pretty close, this could be a situation where, if it comes down to possibly a game-winning field goal.
Right.
Hey, does he have the nerves? What's going to come of that? So that's where, special teams is always crucial in every game, and it's definitely something to keep an eye on.
Yeah, and neither team has punted much on the other side of the kicking battle tonight. Fairfield's T.J. Firkinoff has punted just once for 55 yards. Princeton's Raphael Floyd, who's also an offensive player, will be calling his name tonight. He's punted 4 times, averaging just under 40 yards a punt. So just, it seems like they're either scoring or turning the ball over. Not a lot of voluntary turnovers through the punting game.
That's, that's crucial. One person to keep an eye on is Raekwon Williams from Fairfield. He's returned already a kickoff, 91 yards for a touchdown.
Amazing.
I mean, he's
91 yards.
He's impressive, and he wreaked havoc last year in a couple games that I had watched and followed. So he's definitely another weapon to watch out for. He's averaging also just over 11 yards per punt return with the touchdown as well. So, those are the only return touchdowns in the GMC so far this year. So he's definitely a weapon to watch out for, and he's one that you may want to be thinking about, possibly not kicking to in some crucial situations.
Yeah, we may see some of those short kicks or squib kicks. We've seen a lot of that in the high school game lately where, coaches electing not to punt to those threats in the backfield and kind of keep the ball away from them. We'll see if Mike Daniels and the Vikings choose to do that tonight. Now on your screen, you're going to see the latest Harbin's release from the Ohio High School Athletic Association. Those rankings just came out this week, and it's never too early to think about the postseason and the implications that league games are having now that we're in the meat of the schedule. Week 5, as we mentioned earlier, Fairfield is currently sitting 8th in Division I, Region 4. The top 8 teams, of course, make it to Week 11. One thing to keep an eye on is Coleraine is lurking back there. They're down a little bit right now with that 0-2 start, but they're going to climb up as they get through the GMC schedule.
Well, like the old adage is, you can't make the playoffs in August, but you can definitely lose it. So, Coleraine, for them to be right there, hovering around, right in that striking distance. These kind of games are here very crucial for these teams. Like you said, with Princeton, they're currently sitting 12th with Hamilton and Lakota West. 2 teams that they're going to be seeing later on in this year. Yep. A victory like this will go a long way. And obviously, same with Fairfield. Obviously, you want the teams that you play, you want them to continue to win games as well. That helps build your resume and helps give you those points. And that's the same situation for both teams here tonight.
Well, that'll do it for our pregame look here from the field, Pat Mancuso Field at Viking Stadium. It's hard to believe our game time temperature is probably going to be in the mid-80s tonight. So another story we didn't talk about, but we'll definitely be keeping an eye on is cramping and which team has done a better job of hydrating this week.
Well, I can tell you I haven't done a good job of hydrating. I'm burning up a little bit right now. It's not looking too pretty.
We're in the air-conditioned box with a fridge full of water up there. We'll be okay, but these players hopefully have hydrated, well before tonight's game. I mean, you think about it, they've had practices in camp, and so far this season that temperatures hadn't even hit 70 degrees, and here we are in week 5 when you're thinking you're starting to put a pullover or a sweater on, and it's 90 degrees as we walked into the stadium, probably in the high 80s right now.
Well, if you think about week 1 when we were at Marymount, it was, just a beautiful night for football. Now it's, an extra 10, 15, maybe 20 degrees warmer. Now I'm not ready for this. I'm not built for the heat.
Another week of shorts weather is always good for the soul. So stand by. He's Chris. I'm Glenn. Kyle will be along with some pregame notes from the coaches in just a minute. We'll be right back with the pregame kickoff.
Reed airs it out, and it is intercepted again.
He's up off the field. He's got it in wide open down the left sideline. He gets the edge. He stiff arms a couple of tacklers. Look at this. What a hit. That is a great play. Wow.
Moore got an opening.
Got past the second level. One man to beat.
Matt. Does Matt need a stage? Welcome back to Princeton High School, where the Vikings and Fairfield Indians get set for a GMC showdown. Last week, these two teams combined for over 110 points when these two teams played last year. Should be an interesting matchup tonight. And earlier this afternoon, fairly humid here at Princeton, but the temperatures started to cool down. And the Indians, well, they're trying to go 3-0 in the GMC. Princeton, if they could pick up a win tonight, that would be a big quality win. Should be a fun matchup here in the GMC. We'll send it up to the booth, gentlemen. It's all yours.
Thanks, Kyle. Good to have you on board with us tonight. And saw you talking to Keenan Singleton from WCPO.com down there. So working hard, making contacts. Hello again, everyone. Glenn Olson, Chris Asbrock, Kyle Evans, you just heard from on the field. Jason Dudley's in the truck. We're live from Pat Mancuso Field at Viking Stadium on Chester Road in the Springdale, Sharonville, Glendale, Evendale. It all sort of comes together real close here area. But the Princeton Vikings have just taken the field, as you've seen on your screen. Chris, we talked a little bit in the pregame about just a brutally tough GMC this year, and this is a key game for both teams, really.
This is key. We did discuss this in the pregame. You know, just the way the playoffs are sitting right now, you really have to. You got to take advantage of opportunities in games like this, to where you have to. I mean, you got to knock off teams that are going to win games, right. And so this is why this is such a crucial game. For both teams, because Fairfield's going to win a lot of games coming up. You know that for a fact. They've got a couple big games coming up after this one, so if they can get a victory here, then look for Princeton to do the same against this very, very tough Fairfield squad.
There you see the Fairfield Indians taking the team. Jason Krause in his 7th year as head coach of the Indians program. It is homecoming tonight here in Princeton, and not just for the alumni, but for the team, Chris, due to a scheduling quirk, this is their first home game of the entire season, and it's week 5.
It's hard to believe. Yeah, like you said, in week 5, and this is where, this is your home debut for the 2017 season.
Right.
You start off, you go out to West Claremont and face a West Claremont team that was, a lot of people were kind of, curious to see.
Didn't know what to think. Yeah.
Exactly. I mean, you had Amelia and Glen Estee, combining for the West Claremont team. And then you go to Springfield High School and you drop a close one there. Then you come back against Lakota East, again on the road. And then you go to Middletown and get your first victory in a pretty lopsided game. So then, I guess it's good here because you've got a back-laden schedule here where it's filled with a lot of home games. So this is going to work out for Princeton, I think, looking down the pipeline.
Just about set for kickoff. You did see Princeton's head coach, Mike Daniels, who we talked about extensively in the pregame, talking to the officials. So Fairfield has won the coin toss and Princeton won the coin toss and elected to defer until the second half. So we're going to get a little bit of potential excitement here early on with those return men we talked about in the pregame, Chris, when Raekwon Williams and then Chico Robinson also back deep for the Indians.
Yeah, you've got, 2 veterans. You've got, a junior and a senior, and Williams and Robinson. 2 guys who are definitely dangerous and can take it to the house with, with one simple touch of the ball. So we'll see what's going to go on here, and let's get this week 5 underway.
Yeah, the Vikings kicker is just taking the field. He wears number 12 for Princeton, and our roster that we printed off doesn't have player numbers on it. So we're in a little bit of trouble there tonight. We'll do our best to get that updated to you here as the game progresses as to who is who. We've got an update now, so it's number 12, Bryce Burton. He's a fullback and tight end, junior, 240, big boy, as you can see on your screen.
He is a big boy.
He's got good technique. He's going to get some muscle.
Yeah, I was watching him do, kick here in the pregame. Impressive.
So here we go, underway. First home game for Mike Daniels at Princeton High School. It's a deep kick, and it will go into the end zone for a touchback. So that's one way to take Raekwon Williams and Chico Robinson out of the return game, is booted into the end zone every time. We'll see if he's got the leg to sustain that the whole game, Chris.
I mean, the more you can do it, better off you're going to be. Obviously you want to keep, you want to limit the touches that these weapons can go with.
So we're going to get our first look at this high-flying Fairfield offense that we talked about in the pregame. The left tackle that we talked about, Jack Carmen, wears number 74. You'll see him on the left side of your screen. There's quarterback Jeff Tyus. He is a junior. Made 2 starts last year before getting started this year, or getting the starting job this year. He's going to go back to pass, 3-step drop. It's going to be a screen out to the right, and will go for about 8 yards. So a good start for the Indians.
I mean, if you watch, I can't help but laugh on that, but Jackson Carmen threw his guy down with one arm. You can maybe see it here on the replay on the far right side of your screen. If you're Jeff Tyus and you've got that comfort level and knowing that he's blocking your backside, he literally threw him to the ground with one hand.
I mean, your offensive line is always bigger guys anyway. And then you put him out there, and he puts his fellow lineman to shame. That's going to be a run up the middle, first down and more. So the Fairfield offensive line opening up holes early, making that carry is number 9, Justin McLean. He's just a sophomore running back for Jason Krause. So a lot of youth on the offensive side of the ball here for the Indians. Chico Robinson, Jack Carmen, and Isaiah Coleman, the only 3 guys listed as seniors on the starting offense.
Yeah, it's just impressive to watch this Fairfield unit work offensively.
So 2 plays, 23 yards for the Indians. Man in motion, that's going to be a handoff to Raekwon Williams. He took a lick there, and that's going to get a flag drawn in. The official and the referee, in the backfield.
Holding offense, 83.
So that's going to be Eric All, the senior tight end, called for the hold and going to nullify a good run. But, man, what a hit at the end of this you're going to see.
Yeah, you can see, it was just that was an easy call right there. He tackled it, but, man, Williams took quite the punishment on that hit right there. He's going to, welcome him to the game pretty quickly.
So that they're going to mark that back to the 31-yard line. So it's still first down, but a country mile to go for the Indians. You gotta like that illuminated down marker on the other side of the field. Nice and bright.
I just caught that.
Yeah.
It makes our job easy.
Boy, Carmen pulled over that time. Play stop. It's going to be a false start on Fairfield. But, yeah, Carmen pulled over to the right side.
Dead ball, false start. Still first down.
So the penalties continue to pile up here for Fairfield, Chris. We're going to have to keep an eye on that. Don't know that we're going to get stats at halftime like we get at some other facilities, but we'll have to keep an eye on those penalty yards. So Tyus, hands off. It's going to go over to the right side. Still not even near the line of scrimmage that was going to be needed. Let's send it down to Kyle Evans on the sideline after we get through the replay here. There you see number 9, Justin McLean, the sophomore, darting in and out of traffic and finally brought down about the 35-yard line. Kyle, take it away.
Talked about the offense last week. Middletown was scorched. Princeton scored 62 points, and at the other side, Fairfield beat Lakota East. They scored 48 points. So two high-powered offenses tonight here on the GMC.
Fairfield's going to have to overcome those penalties. Maybe encroachment by the Vikings. Screen pass out to the right side on second down. It's going to advance the ball up to the 38-yard line. The pass was complete to McLean again. He's turning into quite the weapon here for Jeff Tyus, Chris.
They're doing a really good job of, they're absorbing that pressure, because you can obviously tell they're trying to keep a lot of the pressure away from Jackson Carmen to where they can, utilize their weakness, obviously, when you're not facing the number 1 offensive lineman in the country.
So a little bit of adversity here for the Indians. 3rd and 14 from their own 39-yard line. Tyus steps up away from the pressure. He's going to keep it on his feet. and get the ball up to about the 47-yard line, but nowhere near the first down. He needed to get into Vikings territory and obviously was stopped short. So explosive play for Tyus in an ordinary situation, but not a 3rd and 13.
Well, I mean, unfortunately for Fairfield, they shot themselves in the foot a few times here. You know, you had a promising first couple plays, and you just couldn't get anything going. And, you know, obviously the penalties, you continue to set yourself back a little bit. And that's exactly what happened here.
So Eric All back to punt. A little bit of a lofty snap. Kick off the end of his foot. It's going to be fielded inside the 20. And boy, what a tackle on the return as the Indians got there en masse. That was a pack of Indians to limit that to return to just about nothing.
That was Nashon Bell with the initial hit is what it looked like. It was. I mean, he put a pretty good licking on him right there to to stop him.
Trey Key, Jr., was the return man for the Vikings. It will be 1st and 10 from their own 22-yard line. First look at this Princeton Vikings offense tonight with Hosea Hairston that we talked about in the pregame. We're at 8:50. Ball spotted left in the first quarter. Ball spotted at the 22. 2 receivers to the top, 3 to the bottom of the formation. An empty backfield. Man goes in motion. Hairston's going to keep it himself. He's going to try the left side and maybe a gain of 2 yards.
I'm curious to see the offensive mindset for Princeton here, to see how much they try and keep it away from Malik Van, who, you know, he was kind of in on that tackle a little bit, but he was able to make that, he was able to kind of get there and get involved, which is what you expect from Malik Van every time that ball snapped.
That's going to be tough, with an empty backfield. You got 5 receivers out. You need that blocker back there to open up some holes for him. It's going to be a handoff to the right side to the man in motion across the formation. Just not a whole lot of room there for the Vikings so far. This horizontal game not getting it done in the early going.
I'm telling you what, it's hard to see these numbers up here. I'm trying to figure out exactly who's who there. It's kind of tough.
Yeah, you can see on your screen it's bright red jerseys with a faint gray numeral that's very thin, almost a matte gray. So it's very, very difficult to see from a broadcast position, and even in high definition, if you're watching this online, they don't come through that great on our monitor in the booth.
They're great to see,
They look sharp.
Yeah, they're nice. Oh, going deep.
3rd and 10. Harrison has all kinds of time. He shook loose from a receiver who stumbled. Coach Daniels looking for a flag, but it's not coming. Harrison way overshot his intended receiver anyway.
Yeah, that was just, that was the mutual contact there with both of those guys battling it out. I mean, great throw. Unfortunately, just couldn't get under it because he had his guy beat once he fell.
Both offenses struggling a little bit here in the early going, Chris. Fairfield had a little bit of early success and then shot themselves in the foot with the penalties, but Princeton got absolutely nothing done there at all. They gained 5 yards in that series. They started on the 22. Actually, they lost 5 yards when it's all said and done. They started on the 22, and they're back punting from the 17.
Yeah, both teams shot themselves in the foot again.
Punt. It's going to be a fair catch right inside the 45. Ball was fielded back there by Fairfield's number 83, who is Eric All. Let's send it down to Kyle on the sidelines.
Gentlemen, talked to head coach of Fairfield in the pregame and talked about how tough the non-conference schedule was. Started 0-2, and he felt like that wasn't really, the record really didn't describe how good Fairfield was. They came back, got 2 wins in the GMC, and they played some good non-conference competition in Centerville and the Northmont Thunderbolts, and just the ability to continue to chug forward through this tough GMC conference.
Yeah, Kyle, I agree 100%. Chris and I touched on that in the pregame. Jason Krause scheduled hard, trying to get those secondary points in the Harbin ratings. And there may be a hard count by Jeff Tyus is going to get the Vikings to move early, so that'll be a free 5 yards for Fairfield.
Dead ball. Encouragement defense. 5 yards, still first down.
It wasn't just one guy; it was 2 or 3.
Yeah, they definitely got him to move there, but you could tell that was a hard count. Well done by Jeff Tyus.
I was hoping we'd get that call from the official, like you see the whole left side of the line moved. So 1st and 5 from the 49, handoff, first down, and then some going to be a little bit shy, maybe. Yeah, probably a little less than 2 yards shy. But the ball is advanced into Viking territory nonetheless, and that's McLean, the junior running back, with the carry again. So it's going to set up a 2nd and short situation.
Yeah, looks like second,
maybe
yeah, less than a yard maybe. I mean,
it's close. 3 to the top, 1 man in motion. Nice hole opens up, 1st down and more. The ball's going to be advanced up to the 40-yard line. So good job by the Fairfield offense on this series, really finding a groove and opening up some holes for their runners. That was Chico Robinson, number 1, the wide receiver, who went in motion and took that one, Chris.
Yeah, this was kind of the offense that I was expecting, at least, coming into this game. Not the one obviously we saw in the first drive, but this is the one, and I'm curious to see, if this momentum continues to build on what they can do, in the next couple drives.
1st and 10 from the Vikings 40. 3 receivers in a bunch formation to the bottom, 1 to the top. Handoff wide open. Robinson had nothing but green in front of him. He's going to advance the ball up inside the 25-yard line. So fantastic job by the offensive line that time, just continuing to open monster holes.
And you can hear we're next to the Fairfield coaching staff, and they were urging him to run on that. And he had wide open, nothing but green. He kind of stutter stepped a little bit and kind of didn't take advantage of what he could have, I think, on that play. But great job by Fairfield on that 2nd and short.
So an H-back, 1 running back in the backfield. That's going to be Robinson in motion again. They fake the handoff to Robinson. It's going to go up the gut, advance to the 20-yard line, maybe to the 19. So this offensive line starting to impose their will on the Vikings defense, which we talked about in the pregame. Defense definitely not the strong suit of this Vikings team this year. They're not slouches, just not the strong suit the way the offense is.
Exactly, yeah. I mean, this is where you can, if you're Fairfield, you obviously want to, take advantage of that mismatch.
Approaching 5:10 to play, 2nd and 7. They're going to spot it at the 20-yard line. Man in motion. Motion man is going to get the football. That's Raekwon Williams.
Wow.
And gets it all the way down into a goal line situation. He's going to be brought down at the 1, maybe 2-yard line, depending on the spot. Looks like the 2 out of the corner of my eye, Chris. So Raekwon Williams leaps over 1 tackler there and finally has to be brought down from behind her. He was headed to the house.
Yeah, that was a great run by Raekwon Williams on that play. He took that handoff and went. He used the speed and elusiveness and puts Fairfield in a really good spot now.
So more of a traditional goal line formation. 1 receiver to the bottom, stacking up the offensive line. 1 man in the backfield with Tyus. He's going to set that receiver in motion. That's going to be a handoff up the gut and probably plowing into the end zone. No indication. Yes, it is from the far official. Touchdown for the Fairfield Indians. Just a whole mass of humanity up there and plowing right up the middle, Chris.
Yeah, that was a pretty effortless drive there by Fairfield. Did a great job of, using their speed and athleticism.
So here's our freshman specialist that we talked about, Nick Matty, on to attempt a point after try. A little bit of a low snap. The holder recovers it nicely and
it's good.
Splits the uprights. So nice job by Jeff Tyus, the starting quarterback. He's also the holder on those point after tries. And Nick Matty still getting it done, the true freshman. I guess they're all freshmen. They're true freshmen in high school.
You caught me off guard.
He's a true freshman.
I'm like,
but
yeah,
the term doesn't apply.
There's no real red shirts here in high school.
Imagine
what's that?
Imagine it.
No.
But yeah, 8 of 11, I believe we said in the pregame. He goes on point after try. Smell
8 of 11.
12.
He was perfect on field goal attempts, but like we said, 8 of 11. Now 9 of 12 here on the extra point attempts.
So I don't know if we'll try to get a shot of it later in the game, but right now the Vikings offense is huddled in front of a probably 36-inch, maybe a 42-inch TV monitor under a tent. right around the 45-yard line behind the Vikings bench. So you can see it in your shot there next to the cheerleaders. New development in high school football this year. Saw Mount Healthy using that on one of the highlight shows. Forget which one it was, but a couple of weeks ago, RV Crouch getting his offense underneath the tent there and get everybody together, and Mike Daniels doing the same thing here. So
yeah, I know Mason does it, Hamilton does it as well. So yeah, like you said, it's that new trend. It can really quick up the date type situation for these guys.
4:42 remaining in the opening quarter from Mancuso Field at Viking Stadium. ICRC-TV Sports Friday Night Football. Glenn Olson, Chris Asbrock, Kyle Evans, Jason Dudley, and another fantastic crew bringing you all the action here in this Week 5 Ohio High School Athletic Association varsity football action. Week 3 of the GMC. 7-0 Fairfield leads. That's going to be a short kick fielded at the 29-yard line by one of the up men. He's going to advance the ball up to about the 36-yard line. So decent enough return on a pooch like that.
Yeah, Drew Bartolovich. He was licking his chops once that catch was made, because he put a good hurting on him there. And
so we'll get our second look here at the Viking offense. Their second drive of the night. Boy, they got some tall guys on our offensive line too, Chris.
Yeah, both teams have really good size in the offensive line.
Harrison fakes the handoff, fakes keeping it, hands the ball off. That's probably the more apt way to describe that. Ball carrier that time is number 34. That's Davion Bryant, the junior we talked about in our pregame show. Getting it done in the backfield. Send it down to Kyle quickly. Kyle.
Gentlemen, tonight not the only critical game going on. St. X and Moeller right now, they're tied at 7 apiece with 2 minutes and 20 seconds to go in the second quarter. Critical GCL contest tonight.
Going to be a lot of offense tonight around the city. Harrison's going to keep it himself. He's going the wrong way, though. He's going to try to turn the corner over to the left side, and he's going to be brought down at the 40-yard line. It looks like he's going to lose maybe 2 yards, Chris. So, right idea, just couldn't get the blocking to turn the corner.
Yeah, unfortunately for Princeton here, the defensive speed of Fairfield is kind of really it's come out early on, and unfortunately, like you said, it was a great idea. Execution was just kind of tough, just because of the speed, caused the blocking to be a little awry there.
So Mike Daniels is going to spread it out a little bit here. We're going to have 3 receivers to the bottom. Going to have Bryant going up into that slot receiver position. One other receiver to the top. 3rd and 7 from the 40-yard line. Hand off to Bryant. He's trying to turn the corner, able to cut back up, but is only going to get about a yard. So it's going to be 4th and about 8, 6 maybe, or 7. Somewhere 6, 7.
It's within 10.
Yeah.
We're good there.
It's not 10, but it's not 5.
Yeah, it's not 4th and inches, but we'll get it there. We're dehydrated from the heat is what it was.
Well, it just seems to me that, 85-degree kickoff temperature in week 5. Who had that on the betting board?
I can tell you, not me. I can tell you that right now.
Punt formation once again. Eric Hall, the only man back to receive for the Indians. He's going to move up to about the 24-yard line. Boy, kick was spinning sideways. That's going to be tough to field, and Hall's going to call for the fair catch at the 24. So, a lot of velocity, I guess, on that ball, or momentum, but it almost looked like it was spinning sideways.
I was just going to say that. The way he kicked that, I kind of tilted my head a little bit watching that. I was mesmerized. But one thing I'm stunned that we have not seen Raekwon Williams back there fielding the punts. Eric Hall, they share responsibility, so I'm kind of surprised about that.
Yeah. I'm trying to keep him healthy for his duties on offense, might be my guess.
Yeah, because both guys are out there right now, so we'll see.
1st and 10 from the 26-yard line. We're under 3 minutes now, 2:52 remaining in the opening quarter. Those rifles, I keep thinking it's an official's flag running in the air from the band across the field there. That's a run across the right side, and it's going to go for a good gain, 5+ yards. We'll see on the replay here. That's Chico Robinson getting good blocking before finally being brought down. So gain of 6, 2nd and 4.
Yeah, the speed of Chico Robinson has definitely been evident, so far in their play calling. They're trying to get him, the ball early and often and utilize his athleticism.
Yeah, we talked about Tyus. He's under 50% on his completion, so we're expecting to see a lot of ground game action tonight in this game. Handoff up the middle. Princeton, the interior of that Princeton defensive line did a good job of containing that time. It's still probably going to be a gain of 2 yards.
You can see here. I mean, you can definitely tell they're trying to, to impose their will on the Princeton, front four. And like I said, anytime you got Jackson Carmen, you're going to do what you can to, run behind him. He's done a really good job so far, as you would expect.
Yeah, that was McLean. There's an option pitch to the right side. Slips by one tackler.
Oh, ball's out.
And the
ball's
ball
out.
is loose on the ground, and that is going to be a turnover.
Princeton got it.
So a nice play call with the option pitch and got the necessary yardage for the first down. But a fantastic job by the Princeton defense. Johnny on the spot. I believe that was Quincy Dawson, strong safety, who we saw celebrating on your screen a moment ago.
You know what? They had instant replay. I think that one's going to I think he might have been a little down there on that one. But
no video review in high school.
Hey, take advantage of your opportunities, and that's what Princeton did there, capitalizing on that turnover. Now you have to make something happen to get, to really slow down this Fairfield team who's moved the ball well so far in what we've seen in 2 of their 3 drives thus far.
A good field position for the Vikings. 1st and 10 from the Fairfield 36. Hairston fakes the handoff. It's going to go to the left side, and just nothing going there for the Vikings offense.
Yeah, that's just tough. I mean, they're they just could not get anything going. I mean, Fairfield doing a really good job of getting that pressure, and they've done a fantastic job thus far of blowing up that offensive line and really limiting Princeton to any. Really, too many offensive, positive plays.
So gain of 1 on the play, 2nd and 9. We're going to go with a 5-receiver package, 3 to the top, 1 on the bottom. Man in motion, quick pass is going to be incomplete. It was in and out of the hands. It was an intended receiver to the top of your screen. Pass was going to be intended for Jermaine. I hope I don't butcher this name. It's Wimpye. I'm going to go with Wimpy, but maybe it's Wimpye. Not sure. We'll have to get some clarification on that when we get a break here at halftime. But
yeah, that was all on you.
We'll apologize in advance, Jermaine, for getting it wrong. But just
wow.
Yeah, I think that's just self-explanatory right there. That was blown up from the get-go. So another 4th and long situation here. The Vikings not able to capitalize on the good field position, and looks like the offense is staying on the field. They're going to go for it. You can't punt. It's too far for a field goal at the high school level. So 4th and 9, final seconds. Approaching 10 seconds to go in the opening quarter. Hairston's going to send a man in motion. He's going to roll out. Is he going to keep it? Oh, he lets it go right as he gets licked, and the ball's going to be intercepted right at the 35-yard line. Number 22 for Fairfield.
Raylon Lindsay the safety there who made that play. That was just unfortunately for Princeton, they just that play was doomed right from the start. Unfortunately, as you can see.
The bad news is it's an interception, which hurts the stat sheet. The good news is you set him back 10 yards, 10 further yards than where the play was started.
I was just going to say, because, I mean, in theory, that could have been a sack on 4th down, and they get the ball close to midfield. Now, you're back at the 26-yard line, I believe, so.
Yeah, not a bad situation at all in my opinion for Princeton. I think Hairston knew the hit was coming. He had 2 defenders in his face and had to let the ball go maybe a little before he wanted to. And obviously resulted in the pick. We talked in the pregame that he likes to throw on the move, but that one didn't work out so well, but still pushed the Indians 10 yards farther back. 7-0 at the end of 1 here on ICRC-TV Sports Friday Night Football. Glenn Olson and Chris Asbrock with you. Kyle Evans roaming the sidelines, bringing you the nuggets that we can dig up. game's drawn the attention of some of the local media here in town. Teams anxious to see Fairfield Indians, or media outlets anxious to see the Fairfield Indians play. Teams anxious, or media anxious to see Mike Daniels in his home debut. Handoff's going to go to the right side. It's to the bottom of the formation. It's going to be a gain of maybe 2 yards. Not quite able to turn the corner. Back there is Chico Robinson.
Yeah, it looked like there's a little too much stutter step here on that. He really, he didn't put himself in a good spot there to utilize, again, that speed and athleticism that he has. He just, too many stutter steps, and unfortunately for him, and good on the Princeton defense for closing down quickly on him.
Gain of 1, 2nd and 9. Ball spotted at the 27-yard line, Fairfield zone. Man goes in motion. Up. Flag comes in from the defensive backfield.
Delay a game.
Head ball, delay a game. Offense. Still 2nd down.
Well, that's interesting. I guess they're keeping it on the field, or the game clock, or play clock, if you will, was not synced up, because when the official was making his announcement, it was showing about 18 seconds on the play clock. So it's now been reset to 25 and counting down close to 20 now. 2nd and 14 for Fairfield. Tyus, all kinds of time in the world, lets a long pass fly, and it's caught on the run by Chico Robinson.
Who took a lick.
He'll take that lick all day long for a 30-yard gainer.
We got a penalty here.
That's coming back. Spoke too soon. So Fairfield again with the penalty problem, Chris.
Holding. Offense, number 56. 56.
It's the left guard, Jacob Hensley. He's a junior. A little bit of an update from one of our other ICRC schools. Milford and Loveland playing for the Victory Bell tonight. Milford's out in front 14-0, closing minutes of the first quarter.
Yeah, St. X just took the lead on Moeller too. So right now another ICRC school, Mason and Lakota West. That game is tied at 0 right now.
And that game is being covered live, and you can find it at our website, ICRC-TV.com. Handoff up the middle for the Indians. Going to gain maybe 3 yards, possibly 4. Send it down to Kyle Evans with a note on Fairfield.
Gentlemen, you just talked about it a couple of minutes ago. The mental focus, the head coach of the Fairfield Indians tapping his head with his finger saying, boys, we have to just mentally focus pretty much, and otherwise we can't have those costly mistakes.
Yeah, can't get it done just on athleticism alone, and right now a 3rd and 22 is a tall order for this Indians offense.
Middle mistakes is, obviously a 3rd and 22 as a result of that.
Tyus calls for the snap. It's going to be a quick pass after the 3-step drop, and overshot his intended receiver over at the top of the formation and just out of the hands of the waiting Princeton defensive back. So luckily that wasn't an interception for Fairfield, but nonetheless it's going to be 4th and 22, and out come the punters.
Yeah, this hasn't been the best performance really by either team offensively.
Not setting any offensive records tonight.
No, we are not.
Sure.
But, that is going to happen though in games like this, to where it's just two teams that are they're bringing the house. Great punt.
Yeah, it's going to take an Indians roll inside the 45 and roll out of bounds at the 42-yard line. So good change of field position by Eric All for the Fairfield Indians, with a friendly roll here on the Mancuso Field playing surface.
If you think about it right now, Fairfield, a fumble and 2 crucial penalties, on their last 2 drives, that has cost them, easily could cost them 14 points there, the way they were moving the ball on their one drive. So again, just like Kyle had mentioned, it's the middle mistakes. Jason Krause cannot be happy right now basically with what he's seeing from his offensive unit.
Well, you just saw the new boss of Princeton, Mike Daniels. I'm sure he's not happy with his offense either. They've got the weapons to get some points scored on this Fairfield defense, and so far they've kind of been stuck in the mud. Man in motion. Harrison's going to keep it himself. Hole doesn't really materialize up the middle, but it's going to be a gain of 3 yards. He's going to be spotted just shy of the 45-yard line. A little bit of hesitation by Jose at that time, it looked like. Got through the initial hole, but the second level was there to contain Harrison. Now 20-0 from Milford over Loveland. Be some happy fans in the visiting flock tonight for the Eagles. Haven't beat Loveland in a couple years. The last time was 2 years ago. Zach Loudermilk with the game-winning field goal. Zach now serving in the U.S. Navy.
Good for him.
Yeah.
Good for him.
Zach's good people, man. Watch that kid grow up playing football.
Oh, Malik Van right there.
Who? It's like a moving van just through there. Holy cow. Harrison's going to feel that one tomorrow.
It's just the guy we
Harrison. That's Bryant. Yeah, sorry.
He took that. Man, again, that's why I said, in the pregame, all you can do is shake your head.
Yeah.
Because that's what Malik Van can do right there. And I mean, he about took that handoff.
He's a Bearcat season ticket holder. I can't wait to see that guy roaming the field down at Nippert Stadium.
Yeah, he's going to look pretty good in that, in those colors. Good for him on stand here too. It's pretty cool to see.
He kind of got the train started. Quick pass by Harrison. That's a long one. I don't think his receiver can catch up to it. And boy, very lucky that wasn't intercepted by Kyle Schimpf, the senior cornerback. Harrison, Princeton's going with this 3-step drop tonight in the offense, Chris.
Yeah, Jermaine Wapai there on that. He misjudged it. I think he could have had a play had he kind of cut in a little bit on that one, and he gave Kyle Schimpf a really good chance to make the play there. He just, unfortunately for him, couldn't come down with it.
Yeah, Schimpf's not going to be happy with that in film study tomorrow. 4th and 10 from the 42 now for the Vikings. This offense still can't get going. Low snap. Here comes the rush. The punter's going to have to keep it, and Fairfield is able to capitalize as the punter is dropped at the 23-yard line.
Yeah, that's just the product of a bad snap right there. You didn't give your punter a chance to really do anything on that play, and here's the chance on the flip side here for Fairfield to make up for those mistakes that they've made in the last 2 drives. And right now, the way this game's going, it kind of feels like a 14-point lead.
Yeah.
Is quite the steep hill.
This Princeton defense needs to step up, or it's going to be a 14-point lead. It's a short field for the Indians, 1st and 10 from the Vikings' 24-yard line. Handoff up the middle. Good push by the interior. That offensive line is going to get the ball up to the 18-yard line.
One thing is going to be interesting to watch as this game moves on, Glenn, is both offenses, since they both have sputtered, the defenses have been out there a good amount. So I'm curious to see what that does and how that affects these defenses moving forward in the later quarters.
Ball carrier was Tamar Boykin. He's going to stay in at that running back position behind Tyus in the offensive backfield. Boykin's going to get to carry again. He's going to get the ball up to the 15-yard line, maybe a touch inside. Going to be real close to the first down. I don't think he's going to get there, and he's not. So probably not the greatest spot in the world. They're calling it 3rd and 2. I think it's a short 2, actually. And from the spot of the far side official, that should be a first down. There is the indication to move the chains. So Fairfield, all of a sudden, with all the momentum in the world, in that offensive huddle right now.
Yeah, you have to feel pretty good if you're wearing the Fairfield red and white at this point in time, just the way they've been able to move the ball, even with the mistakes that they've made.
Boykin still in the backfield with Tyus. Tyus likes to keep it himself. He's going to advance the ball up to the 10-yard line. One of the few times we've seen Tyus keep the ball tonight. He's got so many weapons on offense. He's been spreading it out a lot. 6th Just about 6:30 remaining in the half now. Second and 7 after a gain of 3. 3 receivers to the top, 1 to the bottom. Boykin still in the backfield with Tyus. Quick pass. Slant just didn't quite materialize. Princeton defense played that one pretty smartly. Tyus' quick pass was looking for Ellis.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he was wanting to get rid of that ball sooner, and just nothing, like you said, materialized. And just the brief pause there caused that play to not work out.
Yeah, Tyus was looking slant all the way that time. Sets up 3rd and 7 as we approach the 6-minute mark. And a timeout is called by Fairfield. They want to talk this one over after finding themselves in that 3rd and longish, mediumish situation, Chris.
Yeah, the way this game has gone, this is a really good timeout by Jason Krause.
Yeah.
Kind of just, take a step back a little bit, kind of calm your guys down. You don't want to make any mistakes here. It's 3rd and 7. You're at the 10-yard line. Make sure everything's good.
Yeah.
And there you go. I mean, it's just kind of one of those things, and you have to come away here with no less than 3 points.
Well, you're 3/4 of the way through the first half. We're just about at 6 minutes. Play 12-minute quarters, so good time to burn that first time out. It started this possession with outstanding field position after the failed punt attempt, I guess is the best way to describe it. After the low snap, the punter couldn't get the ball off, and Fairfield takes over with great field position, but now a little bit of a stumbling block. This 3rd and 7 situation, will they go to the air, maybe that quick slant again, or just going to try to again impose their will with that offensive line? The formation will tell the tale. Got 2 receivers to the top, 1 to the bottom. Tight end. Boykin still in the backfield with Tyus. Tyus, there's the quick pass across the middle, and that's complete for a touchdown to Chico Robinson. Don't see any laundry on the field.
Yeah, that was a beautiful passing, basically a nice pitch and catch right there. Tyus to Robinson. Look at this play.
Look at no pressure at all on Tyus.
Beautiful throw, beautiful catch by Robinson in traffic. And with the guy coming on, tip your cap right there to the Fairfield offense.
The freshman, Dick Matty on for the point after try. Video board goes dark. Snap is down, kicks a little low, but it does not clear. So,
I think it might have been blocked.
Is that what it was?
It's.
Well, without the video board down there, that corner's kind of dark.
Yeah.
That end of the field a little dark. So they turn the video board off while the kicker's kicking there. But maybe we'll get a chance to look at it again on replay. But yeah, the freshman we talked about, he made one earlier, but misses one there. We'll see if it comes back to haunt the Indians. They now lead 13-0 in the second quarter with exactly 6 minutes on the clock. Send it down to Kyle on the field with a nugget. Kyle.
Gentlemen, we talked critical drive right there. How about the Fairfield defense? They locked down defensively, and then they were able to go down and score. That was a critical drive right there that Princeton really needed to hold them to just a field goal attempt. Unfortunately, it's not what happened, and now Princeton finds themselves down 13-0. But like you just mentioned, we'll see if that extra point comes back to haunt them.
Yeah, well, Princeton's got, in good info, Kyle, Princeton's got bigger fish to fry at the moment. They got to figure out a way to sustain some momentum on offense. I mean, it's been short drives. The defense is getting worn out, and the positive yardage is hard to come by for Princeton right now.
Yeah, it's been tough sledding for the Vikings.
It's going to be a high kick, trying to keep it away from one of those return weapons. May backfire though. It's fielded at the 30-yard line. The ball's going to come up in the area of the 44. So the intent was to keep it away from one of those skilled return men, but the Vikings made him pay a little bit.
I mean, the 2 kickoffs so far have been the pooch kick. I'm wondering if you're going to see Mike Daniels, if he's going to maybe disguise one of those, dangerous return men and kind of see if he can slide him up there. And because on that return right there, if he breaks past that first line, he can run obviously right down to I-75 with that, with that wide open lane there. So, those can work, but if you, one missed assignment could cost you there.
Like we talked about, it's been a real trend to do those short type of high kicks, and sooner or later, the adjustments are going to be made. You're going to start putting skill guys out there to field those kicks. So Harrison in all kind of trouble from the get-go, but slips through some tacklers, and that's the momentum we were talking about, and the ball is loose on the ground. So Harrison with a nice run into Indians territory inside the 35-yard line.
It's Fairfield ball.
It's a Fairfield turnover.
And we got a flag, huh? So we got a flag that was dropped there by the
celebration.
I'm thinking so.
Boy, that's just too bad for Princeton. Hosea Harrison, I mean, that was the spark that they needed to reinstill some confidence in this offense. And
I think the official dropped his flag, actually. I could be wrong, though.
I don't know.
No, he dropped it again, so it's a penalty. We'll see. It probably is going to be a celebration penalty.
Taunting or something on the Fairfield. Grabbing the arms down there.
Illegal use of hands against the red team. Our penalties decline. First down.
So on top of all that, it's on Princeton. Legal use of the hands by the Vikings. Man, look at this. I mean, there's nothing but room there.
Oh, great job of stripping that ball.
He wasn't going to the house, but
no,
he was going to go far with it.
Couldn't really see who that was. Was that?
I think it was Rudy Jones, perhaps number 10. Safety, White. He was number 10, White. That trying to find out with the truck who recovered the ball. That should have been encroachment on Princeton. He was in the neutral zone big time. Run up the middle. Ball was recovered by number 23, Braylon Lindsay, senior safety. Thanks for the clarification. Eagle-eyed producer, Jason Dudley. So here come the Indians into the penalty zone
74
again.
White. 74.
So that's going to be on Jack Carmen, who we talked about pretty extensively in the pregame, the senior left tackle.
And you know what? That is something that could happen a lot. Just the size difference could cause a lot of that being an issue. It's not like it was, any issues with that. It's just, sometimes it's just the sheer size. I mean, he is a big dude.
That he is 6'4", 350. Is that what he said?
Big. That's what I say. I'm just gonna stick with big.
In that neighborhood, it doesn't matter much unless you're playing football, right? He's
yeah,
a
that's
big
true.
human being.
When you're at the NFL Combine, I guess it matters, but
yeah, he's got a couple years.
Picked.
Intercepted. Yeah,
it's picked. No, they're calling it incomplete.
Oh my gosh, that was in and out of the hands of the intended receiver, and then it's recovered by Princeton's.
The officials are going to talk about this one because one was saying incomplete, the other one was saying an interception. I thought he caught it.
It happened so quick.
It's incomplete. It's going to be called incomplete. So Fairfield dodges a huge bullet there on that play. Another play to where they just continuously they cannot get things going, and that was another play that could have been. And here's the replay. Here was Eric All threw his hands. Oh, it was tipped at the line. That's why.
Yeah, but still, it hit All.
It did. It hit him right in the hands.
And if our roster is right, that's Bryce Burton wearing number 12, but we know these number games.
I blame the internet.
Sometimes. Well, these internet rosters get submitted early, too. So
nice
run by the Indians. Flag comes in from the official on the near side. So it's good enough for first down on the surface, but it's going to be coming back, and my guess would be a hold. See how wrong I am. Princeton Fairfield starting to find those gashes. Starting to accumulate big yards at a time.
Sideline warning against Princeton.
No, so it's a sideline warning against the Vikings. That makes sense because it was that official on the near side of the field. So that was McLean with the carry. skips away from one defender before falling into the waiting arms of Princeton's number 1.
And I'm wondering, Glenn, and I had touched on it just last quarter, was how much the fact that these two defenses could be tired, or at least the Princeton defense being tired, just simply because they were out there the whole time. They've been out there a lot, so it's just been wow. There we go. They rebounded nicely there with the.
Yeah, we had talked about that fatigue issue a couple minutes ago. I mean, it's bound to catch up with that defense spending so much time on the field with these short offensive possessions.
They came up crucial on that play there because they stopped something from really materializing and becoming obviously a much bigger play than what could have been.
2nd and 10 now for Fairfield. We're at 4:15 in the second quarter. Indians leading 13-0. Tyus is going to be a screen pass over to Robinson on the left side. One-on-one coverage out there. He's able to turn that into a decent enough gain. It's a good play call and good awareness by Tyus that time, Chris.
Hurry up offense here by Fairfield.
Run up the middle, 1st down and more. That's what Fairfield can do to you with that offensive line. They can impose their will. We've said it several times, and textbook example of it right there.
That's what you're going to see, I think, for obviously the rest of this quarter. But if they can get at least 7 points here out of this drive, that really, I think, right before the half, could really be a dagger to the heart of Princeton.
Yeah, it could be pretty demoralizing. Nice crowd on hand tonight here at Viking Stadium. It's homecoming week and the first home game of the season for Princeton. Tyus back to pass. He's going to get caught up in the pressure and dropped back around midfield, just inside midfield at the Princeton 49. Send it down to Kyle Evans. Oh, we've got to break in play. Kyle. It's a big loss. Officially, it's 2nd and 20, so not a ideal 2nd down situation. That's one that gets you off schedule, Chris.
Yeah, it's just another one of those negative plays that seem to have plagued Fairfield so far.
Boy, there came the blitz, and Tyus was lucky to get rid of that ball before he would have gotten creamed back around the 40-yard line. He was backpedaling the entire way from the minute he got that snap in his hands.
Yeah, this is a crucial drive here for this Princeton defense who, you can kind of tell they're, the positivity of some of these plays is really, you can tell like it's kind of uplifting them right now. You can just kind of see their demeanor on the sidelines right now. It's a lot more positive than what it was after some of these turnovers and everything like that.
You have to watch the play clock. It's under 5 seconds now. They quickly get into formation 2-1. Tyus gets it off right at the clock. Has to step up away from the pressure. He's going to zigzag his way through traffic on the left side and get the football up to the 40-yard line. So he's going to gain 9. That's going to set up a 4th and 11. Good awareness here by Tyus. Tuck the ball in, and nice little move there to try to make one guy miss and dive forward and get 3 or 4 more bonus yards out of that. So Fairfield's going to come out in punt formation. Vikings are ready for it. See if they do indeed punt this ball or try something else. Good snap. Rush was coming. Kicks fielded around the 11-yard line. Turn man's going to step away. It'll be brought down at the 22-yard line. So plenty of time for the Vikings to try to get points here, Chris, with 2:30 remaining in the half. But they're going to have to get positive yards. They can't afford to go backwards.
Yeah, the last drive, obviously, we know did not end well, with the fumble. Can they build off some of that momentum of the positive yards that came? Because that was a great play.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, it obviously just, with the ball coming out and everything like that, you've got 2 minutes and 30 seconds left here in this half. you know, try and build off that. You know, you move the ball on them. Let's get it, let's get it going continuously and see what they can do.
See if they go back to that Hairston run. He's going to hand the ball off. He's going to go for about 3 yards to the top of the formation, the right side of the formation. Bryant looking a little gimpy there. Devon Bryant, the junior running back, 5'5". Fireplug for us.
Yes, he is.
Gain 4. Brings up 2nd and 6. Clock hits 2 minutes exactly, and now we're under 2 minutes. Ball at the 28-yard line. Princeton's own 28. Man in motion. Handoff. Oh, Hairston's going to keep it and tries the right side and is going to get the first down. But they're going to have to go tempo here. The clock will stop momentarily for the chains to get reset, but 1:45 remaining. We're going to have to get bigger chunks of yardage in shorter periods of time, Chris.
Yeah, the one thing that they have working for them is they have 3 timeouts remaining. It's going to be interesting to see what Jason Krause does here, because if he's going to start using his timeouts, if Princeton can't get some good chunks of yards on some of these plays.
Quick pass. Hairston's going to be complete over to the right side of the formation, trying to get the receiver out of bounds, but he does not. He's tackled inbounds at the 40-yard line. So right idea. Fairfield defense executed well.
That pass was from number 18, Raphael
Clock continues to tick. We got 1:20 left. Kind of surprised at the fact that there isn't a little more hustle in Princeton right now in the way they're.
I said we're gonna have to go tempo, and they're looking like that's a foreign concept at the moment. Hairston, quick pass. It's going to be caught.
Incomplete.
Nope, incomplete. So that'll stop the clock. But unfortunately, it's going to bring up a 3rd and longish kind of situation. Don't scoreboard showing 1st and 10, but that's not right. It's 3rd down, probably 3rd and a short 8 or a long 7.
5. Wow. You know what? It's a Friday. I'm not here to do math right now.
That's okay. I just heard the Fairfield coaches asking through the headset if they want to bring some heat, and they are. His linebackers were coming in off the edges. Hairston's hit as he throws the ball, and that hit was enough to disrupt the timing on that pass. There you see a very dejected and possibly frustrated Princeton receiver who was wide open to catch that pass. That's Wimpy.
Timeout,
Fairfield does take the timeout, Chris. So now
that's
they're
a tough
down to
sack
1.
to take right there. It's just that's
Yep.
a killer right there.
Receiver had separation, that's for sure. So
He did.
Princeton did the right thing. They said, do we want to bring the heat? Absolutely they did. There's 2 linebackers, 2 outside backers blitzed in and created all kinds of disruption there that the Vikings weren't set up to handle. I think the offensive waiting on that, though. When you think you'd be expecting blitz in that situation?
I mean, I would think so.
3rd and long and trying to get a score here with a minute to go.
I mean, good on Fairfield. I mean, they knew exactly what they were going to do, and that's going to fall. To me, that falls a lot more on Princeton. There for just,
exactly right. Yeah, that was.
I don't know if it's exactly. Yeah, I mean, the lack of not recognition per se, but I mean, you just kind of. You have to expect, like you said, and you said it perfect. You have to expect pressure at that point in time.
Maybe they were in max protect, but I kind of doubt it the way those backers raced in.
Yeah, if I'm going to reevaluate that if that was the case.
Lucky to get that punt off. It's going to be a fair catch inside the 35 at the 34-yard line by Hall again.
39 seconds, 1 timeout, and now you've got to go 67 yards maybe?
34-yard line is what the scoreboard has, so 66.
66, okay.
Wouldn't put it past them at this point.
Hey, they've got the weapons, and they've moved the ball well, outside of turnovers and penalties. And
we've got a break in the action. Just remind you to visit our website, ICRC-TV.com, ICRC-TV.com, where this game and all the other events cover. Archived there for your viewing pleasure. ICRC-TV.com. Tyus takes the snap. Happy Feet steps away from some pressure, rolls to his left side, which is good for him. He's a southpaw and able to roll to the left and still throw the football. And we talked about that earlier with, Jack Jack Carmen being the left tackle, got a left-handed quarterback, kind of reverses that blindside situation a little bit.
You are spot on. Here we go. Now
we're going tempo. Clock stopped at 31 seconds. What some confusion on the field. Referee sort of looking around, players sort of looking around. So 2 seconds come off. Sets up 2nd and 10. Not really quite sure what happened there.
Yeah.
I don't know why you would clock it. Calls for the snap. Steps up away from the pressure. He's going to dump it off to one of his outlets across the middle. He's going to get out of bounds. So 1st down and stops the clock. It's Chico Robinson. We talked about him a lot tonight. He's going to advance the ball up into Viking territory to the 37. There you see Robinson on the replay. He's making a beeline to get out of bounds. Didn't even need to push. He was heading there anyway.
21 seconds now. You're at the 37. Curious to see what Fairfield dials up here.
2 receivers to the top, 1 to the bottom. Got a running back in the backfield with Tyus. So there's a little extra protection up on the line. Propose we make that's McLean, number 9, the running back in the backfield with Tyus. I'm going to propose we make a broadcasters committee to approve uniforms. Pressure coming in, passes complete
man
across the middle, but what a lick, and that's going to stop the clock as that flag comes in. That's Eric Hall that hauled that one in. He paid for it, and the referees are going to make the Vikings pay for it. So ball was completed up around the 25-yard line. You're going to tack on, 15 more to that?
I was going to say, is that more on the hit or maybe the taunt per se where you just kind of stand over him? It looked like a good hit to me.
Either way, you're going to give Fairfield yards that you really don't want to be giving them.
Regardless, that's the last thing you want to do. Let's see what they're talking about it here.
What did you guys have for dinner? What did you get them for the wedding? Here we go.
Personal foul.
Yep.
Number 4, red, targeting.
There's
First
that
down.
targeting call that we talked about. Got 2 number 4s on the roster, but
they might want to walk off the penalty. I was going to say they're just kind of.
It's either Pope or Daly. Daly plays linebacker. Pope plays corner. So that would be my guess on the latter. It's a great press box here at Viking Stadium. The downside is you don't get the PA fee.
That is the downfall.
To kind of be your involuntary spotter. 12 seconds remaining in the half. 13-0. Fairfield leads and trying to add to it. We're going to snap this ball from the 13-yard line, and they're going to clock it. So it winds the clock down to 8.
You got enough for 1, maybe 2 more plays. We'll see see how they handle it. They do have that 1 timeout in their pocket, so we'll see. Look for something pretty quick here, like a quick, maybe not a quick slant.
Man, you're gonna have to run post on this one.
That's what I'm thinking. Yeah,
you got to go for the end zone and hope you get the ball snapped. I guess we had an injury. There's a life squad down there. You just saw on your screen. Tyus under pressure, desperation heave out to his receiver on the left side. So that'll be a loss, but it's going to stop the clock with 3 seconds. So they'll have time to get 1 more off. And boy, look at the pressure coming from Princeton here.
Dangerous play here. Watch this. Tyus he saw his guy, but if guy steps up and picks that off, he's taking that one to the house.
That was a clear pass to the quarterback.
Yeah.
Going to get a field goal try here out of the freshman, Matty. He's 1 for 1 on field goal tries. I believe we surmised he's 9 of 12. Or maybe 9 of 13 on his extra point attempts.
9 of 13 now, yeah.
But
timeout Princeton.
Yeah, well, it's ice the freshman.
Timeout Princeton.
Might as well. Can't take it with you to the locker room.
So. That's true. Marvin Lewis, take note.
We don't have enough time to get into Marvin Lewis's clock management and challenge philosophy, Chris. I'm sorry. Even with Haven, if we stayed live during halftime, I don't think we could get that done.
I'll stick with my timeout issues with me. I'll stick with that part right now.
Had to laugh in the Browns game the other day that Hugh Jackson challenged a play that really didn't need to be challenged, and I saw Joe Reedy, the former Bengals Inquirer beat writer, tweet, well, he did learn at the hands of the master. So, pretty bad challenge by Hugh Jackson, if you know the play I'm talking about.
Never seen a coach mishandle timeouts more than Marvin Lewis. It's impressive. You really have to work at it, I will say that.
He's
man.
Well, you got to give him credit for changing the culture down at Paul Brown Stadium.
That's very true.
So I try to limit my criticism because of that. Snaps down, kick is up, and
he missed it.
Wide to the left.
Yeah, he hooked it. He hooked it.
So that's 2 missed kicks on the night for the freshman. And, you kind of know you're going to get those sometimes with a freshman kicker, but, boy, you sure hate it when it happens.
Yeah, that's tough to that's just a bad taste in your mouth right before halftime, going off on a missed field goal. In a game that, if you look at, doesn't feel like it's really close in some aspects, but in all reality, it's a close game. I mean, it's 2 scores. I mean, and Princeton has shown that they've got big play potential. They've had a couple plays here and there that have really,
Yeah, I agree with you, Chris. I mean, especially the run by Harrison, where he ultimately fumbled the ball, shows you they got that they can gash you at times. They hang on to the football. I'm going to take a look at some of our highlights here from the first half on ICRC-TV Sports Friday Night Football. It's been a hard-hitting game, maybe not the high-flying fireworks offensively we thought we were going to have, but you're going to see the adjustments that are made in the second half. And just a quick update, it's LaSalle 7, Winton Woods 5, and another big game over in Division II tonight. So the Warriors, who belong to our friends over at Waycross Community Media, hanging in there against a tough Lancers team tonight, and both highly ranked in Division II. So you see a strong run by the Indians that time. Vikings going to have to get better at tackling, Chris. Over in Milford and Loveland, it's 27-0, almost to the half. But King connects with Jake Ayler again. And here's Tyus. We've seen him run a few times tonight. Nice little stutter step, cuts back, gets 3 or 4 more yards before he's brought down. Here's Hairston. Takes that sack, and look at his receiver streaking by you wide open there. He knew
it, too. He knew it.
Got all kinds of separation. And then there's Robinson. So an exciting first half. We're sure it's going to be an exciting second half. Stay right where you are. We'll be right back. You're watching ICRC-TV Sports Friday Night Football.
University or Clark University. Cleo Davis is the son of Renee and Brandon Davis. He's on the varsity basketball team and is interested in becoming a Division I basketball player. Now representing the juniors is Lauren Cole, escorted by Tyler Chen. She is the daughter of Michelle Hardy and part of the County Music Academy. Her interests include singing, acting, and Tyler Chang is the son of Tiffany and Al Chang. He is involved in student council, Key Club, Acapella Choir, marching band, soccer, and symphonic band. He's interested in becoming an interior designer and wants to travel the world. Jacqueline Heinzman is escorted by Ian Robinson. She is the Petra and Jamar Heinzman. She plays basketball and is part of NHS, and she is interested in becoming a neonatal nurse or studying zoology as her backup after basketball. Ian Robinson is the son of Petra Stone and Corey Robinson, who plays basketball and volleyball, and he's also part of the Athletic Boosters and is interested in tumbling and listening to music. Representing the seniors is Treasure Chen, escorted by Bryce Hester. She is the daughter of Ida I. She boxes and surfs. She is interested in exercising, astrology, science, shopping, and photography. Bryce Kessler is the son of Tim and Jody Kessler. He is the president of Lesbian Troop 11102. He is also involved in National Honor Society academic quiz team and Princeton Theater. His interests include playing the cello and piano, visiting national parks across the U.S., and is planning on going to college as a musical theater major. Renisha Benson is escorted by Robert Lumpkin III. She is the daughter of Serena Benson. She is an NHS and is cheerleading. She is interested in majoring in psychology with a minor in pre-med at Howard University. She also wants to travel the world. Robert Lumpkin III is the son of Yolanda and Robert Lumpkin Jr., who plays football and basketball. He is also an a cappella choir and is interested in studying sports medicine. Emma Gillespie is escorted by Veda Stevens. She is daughter of Amy and Dave Gillespie. She's in Vikings and National Honor Society. She also works part-time at Gold Star. Her interests include volunteer work abroad and studying animal biology in college. Veda Stevens is the son of Diane and Veda Stevens. He's involved in a cappella choir, National Honor Society, Matthew 25, and the Gospel City Mission. He strives to practice law and hopes to impact our community and ultimately change our nation's home, child, and family relations to fight against domestic abuse. And your 2017 homecoming queen and king are Renisha Benson and Veda Stevens.
Ladies and gentlemen, the pride of Princeton, the Princeton High School Marching Band. Leading the band are drum majors Nico Brooksbank, Megan Hassan, and Stephen Holly. For your halftime enjoyment, we proudly present a preview of our show, #GlowBand. Turn up the lights in here, baby. All of the lights.
direct your attention to the East End Zone as we celebrate our 2017 Athletic Hall of Fame class inductees. First inductee is Coach Mike Carson, Distinguished Service Award. Coach Carson could be the head coach at St. Bernard. Coach Carson started the Viking career in 1973 as a freshman football coach, working under Coach Mitchell, Pickles, Cox, Williams, Shad, and Rondon, Barnes, and many other greats. He moved up Coach Michael's staff to Varsity in 1978. Carson also served as the head varsity baseball coach in 1980. His final coaching position at Vineland was head golf coach in 1999.
We're at halftime where the visiting Fairfield Indians lead the Princeton Vikings 13-0. The excitement of high school football, the marching band right behind me playing, and they bring all the energy and the enthusiasm. This has been a fantastic first half here in GMC country. And gentlemen, it's been physical, tough, and exciting. Still got 24 minutes of football to play in this contest, and it's going to be a fun one tonight between the Vikings and Fairfield Indians as we get set to start quarter number 3 in the GMC Showdown. We'll send it back upstairs to Glenn and Chris in the booth. Gentlemen.
Thanks, Kyle. The interesting aspect for me, Chris, is coming out of halftime, the chess match of the adjustments. What are the Vikings going to do to try to get their offense stuck out of first gear? And what is Fairfield going to do in anticipation of those changes?
Well,
stumped it, didn't it?
I mean, here comes some incredible insight. No, I mean, in all seriousness, Clint, I mean, I think for Princeton, you can't make that mistake. I mean, you just have to be, if you're Mike Daniels, who obviously has the experience, he's played in college and everything like that, you have to look at the Fairfield defense and use their speed against them.
Right.
And, if they over pursue, stuff like that, that's what and because there was a couple plays that we saw that, positive plays for Princeton. It just seemed like something happened, it's where it cost them. And that was the situation here with, you had the long run with a fumble. And then right after that, Princeton that's what you have to avoid that. You get the ball back now to start the half. The momentum from Fairfield missing the kick to end the half.
Mm-hmm.
Now you've got a really good chance now to come out and establish yourself early on in this half. You're only down 2 scores,
Right.
So that's, it's unfortunately there isn't much that you can really say. It's just you just got to execute.
And there we have a squib kick. It's going to be fielded at the 30-yard line, returned up to about the 40.
And that's a good start.
Yeah.
Now you've got the ball at about the 44, 45-yard line. it's somewhat of a shorter field. Take advantage of that. Build off. You have to be able to build off those plays and continue to get your offense rolling. I was curious to see now what Mike Daniels can do. See if he gets his team ready to come out and get rolling against this Fairfield defense.
Well, as went by on the return, I think the hardest thing for an athlete is to know when to go fast and know when to go slow. You got to be patient.
Exactly.
Sometimes patience is hard for a young person. Sometimes it's hard for an old person. Let's be honest.
It's definitely hard for a lot of people. I can tell you that. I'm guilty of it. I will say that.
So Harrison's going to keep it himself. He's going to be stacked up and brought down as he crosses the 45 out to the 46-yard line. So a gain of 2.
It's positive yards. So now that's what you have to continue to build off of. Get that momentum going. Positive yards here, positive yards there. That's what you have to continue to keep doing if you're Princeton. The more positivity they can get, the better off they're going to be, and hopefully they can continue to to get that ball rolling per se, and hopefully punch in the end zone.
Absolutely, still a ball game. It's a 2-possession game. It's going to be a handoff going to the top, cut back toward the middle, but there's a pack of Indians. That was number 1, Tyrese Sherman, on the carry for Princeton. He's going to cross into Indians territory.
Brings
ball
up
spotted at the 49 yards.
Yeah, a 3rd and 3 now. I mean, short yardage. They're going a little up tempo here.
Yep, and you're on schedule. 3 receivers to the bottom, 1 to the top. Back in the backfield with Harrison. If you're going to run tempo, we need to run tempo. Trying to draw him off. He gets the pre-snap look. Looks over to the sideline for a play adjustment from his offensive coordinator. Slight shift. The running back comes up, stands beside Harrison. Harrison, quick pass over to the left side, top of the formation. It is complete, and that'll be a first down. So the first drive of the second half off to a positive start. Harrison, just a quick drop, fires that ball over to the top of the formation.
And that's what you have to do if you're Princeton. I mean, like we said, going in, coming out of halftime, let's see. Oh, look at that speed there. Ooh.
Cut back does Harrison.
See, there you go. 4 yards on that play. That's, I'm not, like the old adage is, it's not rocket science, but it's just sometimes you just got to go back to the basics here and some of these plays and just look for the, you don't have to go for the home run every time.
Bunch formation to the bottom, 1 to the top. Harrison calls for the snap, hands off, ball goes up the middle. It's going to be a gain of maybe a yard. So that'll set up 3rd and 5. You're still on schedule.
This is where they have to get a first down here. You can't come out first drive of the half, get a first down, and then have to
lose the momentum. Yeah.
I mean, you cannot afford to do that. So.
Well, you got to come away with points.
Exactly.
Whether it's a field goal or a touchdown, you got to get points and give yourself some confidence. Again, 2-possession game. It's not time to panic, but you'd like to see your offense sustain a drive and get some points. Now Princeton, with some confusion, is going to call a timeout, and Mike Daniels is going to head out to the huddle and handle this timeout himself, not just turn it over to his offensive corner. There you see Coach Daniels in the red shirt, the gray shoulders. Send it down to our sideline reporter.
Gentlemen, a couple of plays ago, Fairfield bench sideline was screaming for a delay of game call, and Princeton got it off at the near tick of time. And but just the intensity down here on the Fairfield sideline, still a 2-score game, but Fairfield knowing that they have to just continue to push the pedal all the way to the ground and continue to push this game forward, even though it's early here in quarter number 3.
Yeah, good point, Kyle. And depending on the crew, sometimes you'll get that tick after it hits 0. The referees will give you that cushion of an extra second, but it really varies from crew to crew.
And it does.
Just confusion. Go ahead, Chris.
I was just going to say, I mean, to build off what Kyle was saying there, I mean, you could definitely, he was saying that the intensity on the Fairfield sideline, is that, maybe a hint of nervousness, or they just realize that the moment's big here, that a stop can really, kind of punish the Princeton mentality there.
It's a tight formation. Harrison's going to pass out of it as he rolls out to his left and lets it fly. His receiver down there was looking for a flag, but no laundry on the field, so that was a long pass attempt out of that tight formation, kind of going for the home run there down inside the 15 on that 3rd and 5. So now all of a sudden it's 4th and 5. You're in that area. Do you punt? Do you run a play and turn it over? Can't kick a field goal from here, obviously. That'd be a 57-yarder, right?
There's no Denver. Mason Crosby's here right now, unfortunately.
Seabass. Not Denver. You don't have thin air. In fact, the air's heavy, if anything, tonight with the humidity. So the offense will stay on the field. 3 to the top, 2 to the bottom. Harrison by himself. It's Sherman going to go in motion, or Brian, excuse me. There's a pass in and out of the hands and should have been complete. Receiver had to go up and get that one and just couldn't hang on to it with the coverage being applied by the Princeton defense. That was Wimpy again, I believe.
Yeah.
He had to go up and get that ball, but good coverage that time by Fairfield's number 4, Raekwon Williams.
Yeah, that's a tough break there for Fairfield, or for Princeton, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just a play you got to make, and you know, it's just, you know, things just don't seem to be going right now for Princeton here at home. Not getting those home breaks.
Fairfield takes over on downs. Sometimes you got to make your own luck too.
Boy, ball's out, but it's out of bounds.
All kinds of action down there at the 40-yard line as Tyus kept it himself after the fake handoff, and a whole lot of nothing's going to result out of that. In fact, it's going to be a loss of a yard. You see Tyus trying to cut back the middle of the field. Good defensive coverage being provided by the Vikings. Unfortunately, that player wearing jersey number 9 is not on our roster that we can see.
I'll blame the internet, I'm telling you.
Well, I did make an effort to go down to the ticket booth at halftime, and they're out of rosters. Couldn't even find one laying in the stands.
Oh, well, there.
So there's a nice run by Chico Robinson.
He's definitely been the MVP of this game here so far today. I mean, every time he's touched the ball, you know, he's made, you know, made plays. You know, he also had the touchdown reception, you know, the second half, second quarter. He's definitely their playmaker offensively, so he's just one that you want to continue to try and get the ball to.
He's been all over the field tonight. Bunch formation to the bottom, one to the top, one man in the backfield with Tyus. Tyus will hand it off. Ball's going to go right up the middle. That was McLean on the carry. Crosses into Vikings territory as he crosses midfield. It's going to be a gain of 3, but it's going to net 2 yards due to the 1-yard loss. Well, no, we're going to give him a bonus yard now on the spot. I thought I had it right. The official had to make me wrong. It's 2nd and 7. Scoreboard says 9. There's no way that's 9. I'm not that bad. There's a pitch. That'll be a first down. Got just inside the 40-yard line, and that's where they needed to get for the first down. So a great play call that time. And that was McLean on the run again. You can see Tyus take the snap, option pitch. McLean got good blocking to the inside and outside and able to get up inside the 40-yard line. It's going to be right at the 39.
Yeah, Fairfield's done just a great job on this possession so far of, you know, imposing their will.
Man in motion is going to get the ball. That's Raekwon Williams. Number 4, called his name a lot tonight too, Chris. We've talked about him and called his name a lot tonight. So he and Chico Robinson really motor that's keeping this Indians offense moving tonight.
Yeah, they've definitely got it going. They're certainly impressive. He tried to cut back, but unfortunately there was a sea of red and gray right there who swallowed him up. But, you know, again, another positive play.
2nd and 4 according to the scoreboard. It looks like a short 4 to me.
It's like a... Oh, look at it. Throws it. Wow.
That's McLean. Great second effort. That'll be a first down. Fish on the far side, staying in at the 29-yard line. They needed to get just inside the 30.
Yeah, they're going to say first down.
Yep. 1st and 10 from right around the 29-yard line. So Fairfield grinding it out. Heavy dose of running. Referee's getting a little impatient with the scoreboard, with the play clock. He's a little more animated and twisting his arm, getting that thing wound up that time, I think. One to the bottom, two to the top, 2 men in the backfield. Tyus going to dump it off to his outlet. That is McLean to the right side, and good second effort, first down and more. So not bad for an outlet pass. He was looking the other way and came back over to McLean.
Yeah,
McLean rewards him.
I mean, it was kind of funny there because McLean was riding the back almost. You know, they were kind of running together of the Princeton defender. And once the defender realized McLean was there, he kind of turned around, but it was too late because he was able to spin off of him and gain another 2 or 3 yards on top of that.
Ball's going to be spotted down around the 15-yard line, 14. 3 to the bottom, 1 to the top, 1 in the backfield with Tyus. He'll hand off to his backfield mate who's going to advance the football up to the 10-yard line, maybe the 11, depending on the spot.
Tamar Boykin with the carry there on that one.
We saw Boykin get a spell in the first half and run several plays in a row. 2nd and 7 after a gain of 3. See what Fairfield dials up here. Now 34-0 Milford over Loveland, by the way. Tyus, all kinds of time. He's going to slide over to his right, let it pass. His receiver gets open in the back of the end zone and in and out of his hands. He had all kinds of time in the world, just a little bit too much mustard and a potential pass break up and an injured player. See the Viking defenders saying, get the trainer out there.
Yeah.
That's Jared Thomas, wide receiver, who was the injured player down.
Yeah, that's...
Well, while we have a pause in the action, while the injured player is tended to, let's send it down to Kyle.
Time. They already have a 13-0 lead late in quarter number 3. They're just trying to pile on. And, of course, right now an injured player for Princeton gives the head coach of the Vikings some time to kind of lock down defensively here on a critical third down play coming up. We'll see what the Vikings defensively draw up.
Yeah, I think after 2 misses tonight, 1 extra point, 1 field goal attempt, you might be done with the kicking game. You want to find the end zone for 6 instead of attempting to settle for 3.
Yeah, if you're Princeton here, I mean, obviously your goal is none, but if you can hold them to 3, you know, it's got to be a victory for Princeton. I mean, fortunately, you obviously hate to see the injured player, and you could see the players on the Princeton sideline taking a knee for their injured teammate who.
Yeah, still down.
Yeah, wasn't pretty. Looked like it.
Don't even want to begin to speculate because I didn't see anything that looked out of the ordinary, but
just looked like a simple collision just in the end zone. But then again, with all that red, it's hard to really, break anything down. So
he let his teammates know right away that he needed some help because there was no hesitation in the teammates waving over to the sideline to get the training crew out.
You don't have to come to me, but I think he collided with his teammate.
I got him sitting up, so that's positive there.
Of course, as all coaches now in Ohio, not just varsity coaches, but even Little League baseball coaches and Little League football coaches have to undergo concussion training.
Yep.
So they're becoming very adept at spotting the signs of potential concussions. Maybe a little bit of a limp there. But we certainly hope he's okay and see him back in the game very soon. If not this, then the next one. But that is Jared Thomas. He's cornerback and wide receiver. He's a senior. 6 foot, 175 pounds. Hate to lose that kind of vertical ability out of the game.
Yeah.
But first and foremost, our thoughts are with him and his well-being.
Definitely. I always hate seeing that. Injuries are sadly a part of the game, but
Okay.
It's a next man up mentality. So we'll see what Princeton can do, and look for Fairfield to most likely attack that side of the field.
3rd and 7 now. They're going to go back on an option pitch to the right side and untouched into the end zone for a Fairfield Indian touchdown. He was not touched. That's Boykin. Wasn't touched until the very end there. But good misdirection play called by Fairfield. Take a look at it again on replay. There's the pitch over to Boykin. Got passed through the first level. He sees nothing but end zone coming. And just one defender contacted him as he crossed the goal line. So now Fairfield takes a 19-0 lead. And another Viking injury down on the field. It's going to disrupt the point after try. It looks like maybe we're going to get Alec Pinckney to try this extra point attempt instead of Nick Matty. Number 27, senior kicker.
27 or 87?
Well, I thought it was 87, but then I had 27 listed on the sheet that Coach Krause sent us. So
yeah, well,
I speculated there, but it very well could be 87.
It would make sense, but I mean,
So 87 is TJ Ice Nogel. Tight end and running back. So makes me wonder if Maddie's injured or just a crisis of confidence or we're just misreading the situation. Yeah, definitely 87. Point after try. Still be a 3-possession game for the Vikings. Good snap. Kick is up.
it's good.
Yeah, that one's good. Right through the uprights. So a little bit of a relief kicker situation. Gets the Indians out in front 20-0 with 4:48 remaining after a pair of Viking injuries, but really no slowing down the Indians offense after halftime there, Chris. They marched right down the field.
Yeah, that was a crucial drive for them. You do a good job of limiting the damage by Princeton as they moved, they moved the ball down the field to start off. But then you take the ball over on downs, and then you really get a chance to, to kind of, I guess just enforce and your dominance in this game, and that's what they've done. And they're going to continue to do that if they can. The more that this game goes on, the longer Princeton's defense has to stay out there. I don't see much of it changing just simply because of that.
Yeah, I think it's hard to disagree with you, Chris. I mean, they've just not shown the ability. That's going to be another squib kick. It's going to be fielded around the 25-yard line.
Uh-oh.
He's got room. He's going to be tripped up, I think, by the kicker, actually. Out near the 40, and he's going to stumble out to the 44-yard line. So, nice return that time by Wempai.
It was beautiful.
Send it down to Kyle with an injury update.
The Vikings will take over. First down.
Down there, probably still able to come back in the game. Kind of keep an eye on it here in the third quarter.
Okay, thanks for that update. 1st and 10 for the Vikings. Scoreboard says officially the 45. The ball spotted just inside that 45-yard line toward the Princeton end zone that they're defending. 2 receivers to the bottom, 1 to the top. Hairston hands off up the middle. Good play call that time. It's going to pick up 7 or 8 yards. That's the momentum. It's Bryant. That's the momentum that Princeton needs to try to recapture and establish, Chris.
Yeah, and you can see they're wanting to, to move to the up-tempo offense, and I think that's probably going to be.
Yeah. Wear Fairfield out a little bit. Bryant can carry the ball. Should be a first down. It's right at the marker on the Fairfield 45. There's the indication from the official to move them. So a fresh set of downs for the Princeton Vikings. Trying to find some momentum and find a spark in this game. And doing
a good job of it here so far. Hairston hands off again up the middle. Boy, there, Coach Daniels saw something. He's trying to soften up, and there you see Bryant never really was tackled, but the hold his forward progress stopped. He broke free of that scrum and kind of pointing, looking at the officials saying, "Yeah, it wasn't down." So gain of a yard, 2nd and 9. Hairston's, boy, if he would have kept that, he had all the room in the world up the middle, but he handed it off again to Bryant, who actually is going to end up losing a yard, maybe 2. But boy, Hairston had quite the hole up the middle there.
3rd down for the Vikings.
Yeah, perhaps we spoke about the momentum too soon, as now it's 3rd and 11. You're off schedule. So he's going to take the snap. He's going to roll out to his left side. He's going to get back to the original line of scrimmage and maybe pick up 2. So my guess is they're going to go for it again. Mason with a lead in their GMC contest tonight, 28-0 over Lakota West. So Mason Comet's getting them done, and again, yeah, I didn't either. That came, of course. You can find that at ICRC-TV.com.
That's an interesting. West just faced.
2 weeks ago. Princeton. Oh, no, I'm sorry. Fairfield. Yeah. I'm sorry. I was thinking Princeton. Princeton had both Lakotas back to back.
That's right. Yeah. 10-3 football game 2 weeks ago for Fairfield. So that was on the road. So, it just shows. Battles each week in and out.
Hairston steps up away from the pressure. Ball's loose on the ground, and boy, that's what you don't want to do is give Fairfield another short field, and that's exactly what Princeton does. So some early momentum. They were able to lose that momentum, and now another costly turnover gives the Fairfield Indians a short field. The ball's going to be spotted at Princeton's 44-yard line, and man, this Princeton defense has to be tired, and that's not helping things, Chris.
I'm not sure. They just, they offense isn't and turning the ball over. Things that you cannot afford to have happen are unfortunately unraveling right in front of them.
2:02 to go in the 3rd quarter. Fairfield leads 20-0. ICRC-TV Sports Friday Night Football. Glenn Olson, Chris Hasbrock, Kyle Evans on the field. Week 3 of GMC play. Boy, Tyus isn't going to waste any time. He's going to go right up top down the right sideline. The pass falls incomplete. So Coach Krause wants to be aggressive, take advantage of that short field.
If I'm do what I can to if you get a touchdown here in this before the end of this quarter, I think it's almost game over. Just the way your defense has been playing and the fact that they've been able to keep Princeton from very, very minimal, positive chunks of yards.
Yeah, let's just be blunt. Princeton's not been able to sustain a drive the entire night.
Yeah. Tough.
A little dump off to Tyus. Boy, that's a play that should not get that kind of yards, and it absolutely does. That's going to be a first down as forward progress is going to be marked up at the 30-yard line, right around the 30 or 31. But that was a dump off. And just no way to stop it. Defense was caught out of position there.
There's only one thing you can say on that, and it's just, execution. And Fairfield's doing it right now, and Princeton's not, and they're taking advantage of it.
1st and 10 from the 31. Tice going to hand off. Boy, all kinds of running room again inside the 20. That'll be a first down and more. Finally forced out of bounds at the 15-yard line. So this Fairfield offense beginning to have their way. Send it down to Kyle.
When the game of football comes, it's with speed and the way that you run. Number 9, fancy footwork along the near sideline, I should say. Playing a different game of football tonight than the other kind of football, which is spelled differently. Football.
Football.
McLean, the runner there.
That
does not look good at all. Again, hate to speculate, but the turf monster got him there, and he is in agony. That is, you can sustain injuries on the real stuff just like you can the fake stuff, but tend to see it on that fake stuff a little bit more sometimes, it seems, especially in optimal playing conditions like you have tonight.
Worry and I guess somewhat displeasure for, obviously you're one of your top players going down in the manner he did. That's a tough sight there. Tough sight.
Yeah, that you saw it, on your screen. That just play came to a screeching halt as the ball carrier apparently had his cleat held up in the turf. This field turf material is what I would suspect, and up quickly.
Wow.
Up very quickly, but being helped off the field, and that's number 9, McLean. We've called his name quite a few times tonight. Being carried off with some assistance, not a noticeable limp, maybe just a, knee hyperextended or something when the shoe got caught in the turf. You hope it's nothing more serious than that, but obviously in a great deal of discomfort right now. So we'll look forward to seeing him back in the game. Wonder if we'll see more of Boykin now then.
I've got a feeling you're going to. Yeah, he's done a really admirable job of stepping in on obviously the plays that that he's been called into, and so I got a feeling you're going to see a lot of Boykin as well from this point forward.
So it's going to be 2nd and 10 now. The ball on the 17-yard line, 1:10, and the clock is rolling. Remaining in the third quarter. There you see Tyus, and indeed in the backfield with him is Boykin. Get a pre-snap. Nope. Maybe an improper substitution. Boykin will go out.
That was weird.
Yeah. So Boykin out and checking into the game.
I'm not sure what that one was. That was interesting.
Ball's going off the right side of the formation. It's going to be good for about 3 yards. And that was Chico Robinson. Called his name a lot tonight, as we've talked about ad nauseum.
A fair amount, yeah. He's definitely made a little bit of an impact tonight.
3rd and 8. For Fairfield, a little bit of adversity in the final 20 seconds of the third quarter. Tyus calls for the snap. Quick pass coming. Steps to his left. It's going to dump it off. Pass is complete. Will be 2 yards shy of a first down, however. But the pass was complete down to number 83, Eric Hall, who we've talked about a few times tonight. He's a junior tight end.
That's going to bring the quarter to an end. So it's not quite the result you wanted, going into the end of the quarter, but, in all reality, it wasn't close.
And we see Mike Daniels trying to rally his Vikings. Been through some coaching changes here. You had Calvin Watkins a couple years ago, replaced by Pat McLaughlin. Pat leaves after a year, and now you got Mike Daniels in here. So some of these players are on their 3rd head coach. Takes a while to get the culture instilled, to get the work ethic instilled, not to mention the X's and O's. The saying goes, it's not always the X's and O's, it's the Johnnies and Joes. They've got to get out and execute.
That's true. That's very, very true. I mean, regardless, you got the plays that are put in front of you, you got to execute those. And but I mean, you can tell Mike Daniels is going to you can tell he's got something going here. You know, it's just been, like you said, it's been hard with the coaching changes stuff like that. I mean, it's unfortunately it's part of it, but you know, with Daniels being in the lung here, they're a solid player, you know, solid history here. You can tell he's going to, you know, he should be able to get this program.
He's a ball of fire. Just go and look up his introductory press conference when he was named the coach here back in the spring, and he is a ball of fire. I mean, if you can't buy into that football gospel he's preaching, you don't have a soul. So 4th and 4, beginning of the fourth quarter. Fairfield's electing to go for it, or perhaps they're going to try to get Princeton to jump,
and
which
they did.
Neutral zone infraction.
Dead ball, encroachment defense, first down.
Yep, so I think that's what Jason Krause dialed up, and boy, if it didn't work. Tyus with the hard snap, gets the Princeton defensive lineman to jump into the neutral zone. Encroachment is called. And all of a sudden, Fairfield's 1st and goal from the 6-yard line. Well, you don't want to ever give these guys a short field.
No.
That was a bang-bang play. Boykin into the end zone for a touchdown.
Wow.
Yeah, well, misdirection created with the receiver in motion, you know, running that arc across the formation, and just a simple handoff to Boykin into the end zone, basically untouched, and starting to tap on those coffin nails, Chris.
Yeah, it's
never say never, but it's getting close.
No,
maybe put 1 or 2.
And we experienced that in that Oakwood Marymount game in week 1. I mean, there was a couple times we thought it was game over, but next thing you know,
it's almost one you want to call game over after it was over and we were in the car heading home.
I was afraid to. I know.
Point after try is good.
But this one,
yeah. That's all Fairfield. I mean, it's, you know, the coaching staff, I'm sure, is trying their best, but the players got to play. The Johnnies and Joes got to play, and right now they're just not getting the job done. Some costly penalties, some turnovers, and just they've got to continue to get more comfortable with this system and buy into what coach is selling.
Exactly, and that will take some time.
Right. So that was Boykin's 2nd touchdown of the night. Here's a deep kick. It's going to be fielded at the 10-yard line. Turn man cuts back to the middle. He's got space. He's got to pick up a blocker. One man to beat. Oh, maybe a flag. I thought maybe that was a face mask. He was absolutely mauled before he was finally brought down at the 30-yard line, and there comes the flag in.
And the sideline infraction again.
Yep, that's going to cost Princeton because they've already been warned. So I guess the sideline was impeding the progress of that official getting down to the play. So a great return is going to turn on a sideline issue.
You just you cannot keep putting yourself in that position. And unfortunately, that's what Princeton has done all night, and it's going to cost them. You could tell. I mean, you know, the enthusiasm was there on that Princeton sideline, but you know, when you have 5 or 6 people almost on the field and the official can't get by them, you got a little bit of a problem.
Guess everybody got caught up in the excitement there, even the get-back coach. So.
Yeah. When the get-back coach is missing, and you know you got a problem.
Yeah.
During the return, sideline infraction against Princeton, 5 yards, first down.
So definitely not the end of the world. Not the end of the world with a 5-yard penalty assessed, but yards have been tough to come by for this Vikings offense tonight. You need every yard you can get, but just an excellent return nonetheless by Princeton.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, yards have been very tough to come by, and when you keep having to gain more and more and more.
Mm-hmm. Oh, we saw it on the last drive. They were in third, second and 5, and go for the home run, then they can't convert on the 3rd and 5.
Exactly. I mean, it's just it's the little things like that that really put you in a bad position at every single game, and that's what they're.
That carry's going to go for no gain. That's going to be 2nd and 10 now for Princeton. Not what you need. Ball on the 36-yard line.
I was going to say the scoreboard just said 1st and 64, so.
It's felt like it sometimes.
It's been quite the interesting night there with the.
Low snap, quick pass, complete. Down to the 30-yard line. It's going to be about 3 yards shy of the first down, but it's progress nonetheless, so that'll set up a manageable 3rd and 3.
It seemed like a little tough spot there. It looked like he had better position there. Right?
That's what I did forget. I think the ball was further than that, but
it looked like he was across the 30.
Yeah.
But, I mean, hey, what do I know?
I thought it should have been 3rd and 3, but it's going to be 3rd and 5, and here's where that 5 yards that you gave up on the penalty could come back to bite you, Chris. Quick snap, quick pass, be complete for the first down.
There you go. Now let's see if they continue to go. No, they're going to call timeout. No, just kidding.
Now you got me.
I know. Well, I'm all. It's
one thing we haven't heard a lot tonight. Our PA guy be able to holler first down for Princeton. He did indeed with enthusiasm.
Oh, he did. He was
1st and 10 from the 22.
Wow.
Run up the middle.
There we go.
Princeton starting to get some things figured out, but you wonder if Fairfield's starting to substitute a little bit, and maybe that's why.
Yeah, going back to the Pat McLaughlin thing we were talking about. Wynn Woods has just taken the lead on Pat McLaughlin and his LaSalle Lancers.
There's some unhappy people on the west side and on Twitter tonight if LaSalle loses. I can promise you that.
Oh, yeah.
LaSalle has been loud and proud as they've been on this run with 3 straight state titles here recently. So, all right, up the middle is going to be spun down. About the 16, 17-yard line. Send it down to Kyle.
Tonight for Fairfield, gentlemen, if they hold on tonight, they're going to be 3-0 in the GMC. And assuming Coleraine wins tonight, both those teams will be undefeated atop the GMC table.
A big battle looming ahead, as we talked about in our pregame, Week 8. Princeton and Fairfield and Coleraine, excuse me.
Yeah, but you know what? If from Fairfield, they've got Sycamore next week at Sycamore. That's a game you don't want to overlook.
Sycamore's not giving up a lot of points right now either.
Unless they're
just took out half the chain gang and players and coaches and everybody else over on the far sideline there. If everybody's okay, those chain gang guys don't get paid enough for whatever they do. Many of them are volunteer, to be honest with you. They just love being out here on Friday Night Lights, so.
There's, you know what, in the tri-state area, nothing better.
4th and 4 from the 16-yard line. Do or die time for the Vikings. They need points here in a big way, Chris. They're going to look over and get a pre-snap read and adjustment from the sideline. Here we go. Hairston, quick pass. Oh, his receiver went in and he threw it behind him. So maybe some miscommunication between the quarterback and his receiver, maybe a bad throw, but Wimpy was open. You're going to see here on the pass coming in from Hairston and just threw it behind him.
Yep. Simple execution is what that is. Fairfield has done it more often than Princeton has. They haven't done it 100%, but, they're just...
Yeah, just makes you wonder whose issue that was. If it was the quarterback or the receiver not running the right route, because that seems to be a big part of Princeton's strategy is to throw those quick passes. Have Hairston take the snap and get rid of the ball right away and get the playmakers out in space. 8:35 and the clock continues to roll. Fairfield leads 27-0. Princeton needed points there in a bad way, at the risk of repeating myself, and came up nothing again.
Yeah, and we knew the Fairfield defense was going to be
tough enough. It's tough enough, Chris, for you just can't afford to have any mental mistakes against a team like Fairfield.
You have a team that is as talented as Fairfield is. You know, anytime you put yourself behind the 8 ball, you're setting yourself up for a tougher battle than what you really should be. But you can tell, I mean, they're exhausted right now.
Yeah, absolutely are. Third and 4. 7:25 to go. Fairfield's going to take their time and bleed this clock as much as they can. It's going to be a handoff up the middle on a 3rd and 4 situation. It's going to be well short of the yardage needed. For the first down. Gain of maybe a yard. But the way my spotting abilities have been tonight, it'll be 4th and short, and they'll go for it. Sorry.
Hey, that's the way the night's gone so far. I mean, hey.
So
can't win them all.
And there's a first down. To my point, so they convert on 3rd and 4th. Boy, I tell you, I don't know if it's my eyes or getting tricked by this scoreboard or what, but that didn't look anywhere close to me. But guys in the zebra stripes matter. They got the final say. So fresh set it down, a run up the middle. Fairfield's just going to continue to lead this clock. Yeah, Princeton with just 2 timeouts now. Not that it matters a whole lot. There's Boykin. See on the replay. Putting in a yeoman's effort tonight. There's Coach Daniels. He's obviously not happy. Probably won't be a night with a lot of sleep for him tonight. I'm sure he'll struggle to try to figure out what he's going to need to do before getting his team ready for next week. Play clock down to 5. 3 receivers to the bottom. Give to Boykin back up the middle. He's going to gain maybe a yard. So this is going to set up a 3rd and longish situation. 3rd and 7. Maybe 3rd and 6.
Tackle made by number 45,
Yeah, I can't disagree with you tonight. We're pretty much in the middle of the field. I mean, I'm looking down at the Princeton 45 right now from our broadcast position, so the angle's not terrible.
What a play.
Yeah, that's great pursuit by the Princeton defender in the backfield to bring that play to a screeching halt. That's Chico Robinson, one of the few times he's been brought down for a loss tonight, Chris.
Yeah, great penetration. I couldn't see what number that was. Is that 1, 4?
4.
Oh, jeez. I'll get there.
Displaying the jersey number, the jersey colors.
I know it's all right.
That's Leandre Pope, I believe. But it could be Daly. One's in the secondary and one's a linebacker. That looked like the secondary to me, but
yeah, we're the victim of bad roster information and tough numbers to see.
Don't get 2 kids with the same number. Have to put some identifier on it.
Yeah,
green dot on the helmet or names on the jerseys or something.
Or an A or a B on me. I'm fine with that.
5A,
5B.
Then on the Princeton sideline, this isn't a Division I college football program. We got 150 kids where you have to duplicate numbers.
Yeah.
But we'll get off my soapbox. And Princeton faithful begin to exit. The clock is stopped at 4:45. Their team trailing by 27 points. Good turnout tonight for homecoming. It was Hall of Fame induction night as well. Things you got to do to get all this stuff done in the warm weather when you start with 4 straight on the road, huh?
Yeah, makes it kind of tough.
Handoff. It's going to be good for a yard based on forward progress.
Second down for the Vikings.
Here's our favorite little fire plug again. We've talked about him a lot tonight. Davon Bryant, the junior 5'5", 185-pound running back. Hey, fit 185 pounds into 5'5". Muscle, man. Muscle.
He's a thick boy.
Yeah.
Runs very powerful, too.
Fake handoff, Harrison pass, nearly intercepted. A little late across the middle and kind of dangerous. It's been a struggle for Princeton tonight. That's all you can say. It's 3rd and 9. Clock stopped at 4:08 after the incompletion and near interception. Now some confusion. Well, you might just want to call timeout here. I don't know if you got the right personnel out there, if you're in the right formation. I mean, Harrison's going to roll out, lets it fly before he catches up with the pressure. A little bit underthrown, but it's going to fall complete. So nice recovery. This one we had counted Princeton out. They got back up off the canvas and trying to land at least a couple lancing blows. Another first down for the Vikings. Down into Fairfield territory. Ball's going to be spotted on the 33-yard line. They've got a little under 4 minutes to get it done here, Chris. Pass is complete up to the 30-yard line, so it's going to be a gain of about 3. Second and 7 now.
3.5 minutes left. You gotta get something here.
That's all you can do, right?
Yep.
Got to have something to build on. Put something positive on tape for tomorrow. Nice lead block by Bryant. Opened up that hole for Harrison.
Made a great tackle, great pursuit to bring him down. As this clock continues to roll with 3 minutes to go. Again, just any positive plays that you can bring going into next week, you got to take advantage of it because you got a game against Dakota West here next week. So do what you can do to get it rolling.
Yep. 3rd and 2.
He got it.
Yep, we'll be good enough for the first down. Here's Brian. He's still not down. They're having to get him on forward progress because he's not going down.
No, he's not.
That low center of gravity comes in handy sometimes, doesn't it? Look at him. Come on, feed me. Give me the ball, coach.
Boy will eat. That's what they're going to say. That boy will eat.
Yeah.
Keep feeding him. That's
1st and 10 from the 21. It's going to be a shot to the end zone.
That's picked, but he's out of bounds.
Yeah. Boy, that was they had the receiver in the corner, but good coverage. They were trying to find Wimpai down in the left corner on 1st and 10 from the 21. But great coverage provided by the Fairfield secondary.
Jason, the final knocks off Lakota West 28-0. So with Lakota West coming here next week, you're going to be facing Mike Daniels and his Princeton Vikings are going to be facing probably a little bit of an angered Lakota West. Oh, what a play.
Oh, that's intercepted. Oh, nope, was it? Could have been. Deflected twice, in and out of the arms.
That ball was batted around a little bit there, but it was almost 2 spectacular plays. One by each team on that one. I mean, it just, luckily for Princeton, it fell to the ground.
Yeah. 3rd and 10 now. Princeton wants to get points here, hence all the passing, I think. But I'm not so sure I would have gone away from Bryant just quite yet. Maybe change your look a little bit and put another blocker out there, maybe an H-back to try to spring him. Fairfield shows blitz and backs off of it. Harrison's going to go to the air again. There's looking down in that left corner, but well off the mark. Out of bounds.
He brings it in. Beautiful catch.
Boy, he's trying to get him down there, get number 7 down there in that left corner. But
yeah,
just between the coverage and the errant pass, just can't quite get it done. So we're at 2:09 now. 4th and 10, do or die times for the Vikings. And looks like they're going to call a timeout and give themselves every opportunity to at least find the end zone and avoid the shutout, Chris.
Yeah, at this point, like we said, with the game looming, another big GMC matchup looming on, and you want to get as much, as much momentum as possible. I mean, out of a 27-0 game as you can. So, for Princeton's sake, any little bit helps, I guess, is the best way to put it.
Yeah. Well, it's definitely want to get, as I said a moment ago, something to build on, something positive to talk about, and if you can show where you're able to execute here down the stretch, even if it is against subs, that find some positives for these players in blocking and getting open on the routes and throwing passes and making plays on the run. It's going to show a lot to your coaching staff who wants to be here and is willing to put in the work when your back's up against the wall.
Exactly. I mean, this hasn't been a pretty game for Princeton tonight. I mean, nothing really has gone their way.
There's another pass going down close to the end zone. Looking for Wimpai again.
Kyle Schimpf again.
Yeah.
They've gone after him every time, and he has stepped up each time with a great defensive play. And look at this. I mean, beautiful throw. I mean, a dart.
Yeah.
And
good coverage.
Schimpf is there.
Yeah.
And he's another guy you got to tip the cap to on this Princeton defense.
We do want to take a minute during the stoppage in play to thank our crew for coming out here tonight. It's probably 90 degrees close to it when you get these guys right here lugging cameras up into the booth and on top of the box and running cables all over the stadium and running the sidelines, tonight in this warm weather. So thanks to our crew, our producer and director, Jason. Thanks also to Princeton for hosting us. It's always pleasurable environment to come work in our private TV box here at Princeton.
It's nice.
Yeah,
it feels good.
Yeah, it's in the air conditioning, which is more than our camera guys can say. So send it down to Kyle real quick.
Yeah, not a lot of air conditioning down here on the sideline, gentlemen, but hasn't been too hot tonight. A little bit of a breeze and fairly humid, but a gorgeous night to play football here in the tri-state area.
Yeah, and both teams seem to have done a good job hydrating this week, Chris. We talked about that, at the top of the show. Wondering if, this warm weather would have an impact tonight, but we haven't had any cramping issues. The injury timeouts seem to have legitimately been injury timeouts, not just to stretch out cramping. So kudos to the players and trainers on both teams for getting the hydration done this week.
Yeah, it's kind of surprising because we did talk about, the weather and how hot it was for it, especially week 5. I mean, and they've done, like you were saying, they've done a really good job of keeping the cramping and everything like that at a minimum. Props on all of them.
Those are the types of things that can sneak up and bite you, especially in a weird weather situation like we've had this season so far in Ohio. We haven't had the thunderstorms, which is a welcome relief from last year, but what we've had is 60 degrees one week and 90 degrees the next. It's been bizarre.
That it has.
I would have had the air conditioning on at Christmas at this rate. Wouldn't be the first time that's happened either. Just in the Olsen house. So Fairfield set to run out this final minute and 20 seconds, and we're going to get a steady dose of handoff as we get some of the reserves into the game at this moment. The clock will stop with 1:12 remaining.
Hey, Jason.
While the chains get in position for the first down that was obtained.
I'm going to get ready for my interview. I'm going to go in front of Matt's camera over by like the 30-yard line.
So we put the subs in, and they still get first downs.
It's been one of those nights for Fairfield.
27-0. We're under a minute to go now. We're going to have Kyle Evans with a post-game interview once Chris and I wrap up here from the booth. And I'll get a few weeks off after tonight, just the way the schedule's falling, with some personal conflicts and the teams that were covering conflicts. But at this point, I think I'm not due back until week 9, but hopefully we get the Gridiron Report back up and running after a couple weeks of hiatus due to some logistical issues and scheduling issues. So.
Yeah, I mean, it'll be kind of nice, to relax on a Friday night. Geez, wow, that went nowhere quick.
Yeah, but when you get used to driving to a school on a Friday night, and all of a sudden you're sitting at home going, "Oh, what?"
I know exactly. Yeah, like what am I supposed to do now tonight? You know, that's gonna wrap it up.
Yeah, so that will do it. Your final score: Fairfield Indians 27, Princeton Vikings 0. Coach Daniels' Chargers can't find the scoreboard in his home debut as both head coaches meet over at midfield around the 40-yard line. On the east end of the stadium here, Pat Mancuso Field at Viking Stadium on the campus of Princeton High School. I do want to take a moment to thank our community, the Princeton schools communities, for allowing us to bring you this broadcast tonight. A shot of video, a couple of our camera operators up on the booth tonight, as well as the school video cameras wrapping up and getting home. And as a reminder, if you'd like to do this, whether it's announcing, run a camera, or learn how to operate the truck, contact our producer, Jason Dudley, Jason at ICRC-TV.com, Jason at ICRC-TV.com. We need you. Let's send it down to Kyle Evans.
Here with Victoria's head coach. Coach, talk a little bit about how strong your defense played tonight.
Well, when you shut anybody out in our league, obviously you're playing very well. They had a lot of short fields, and our defense held and played a great game for us tonight.
Talk about a little bit how you carry this momentum forward against Sycamore next week.
Well, 3 weeks ago, we won a GMC plan. We talked about a new season, and we're 3-0 in that season right now. And obviously we've just got to keep doing our jobs and playing hard and go on to the next one.
Just talk about how strong your team was tonight mentally. Very few penalties.
Well, early in the first half we had a few that kind of shut some drives down, but we stayed tough with what we were doing. We executed pretty well all the way down the stretch, and I like our game plan.
All right, Coach. Thank you for your time. Good luck.
Appreciate it.
Gentlemen, back upstairs.
Kyle, thank you. Great job tonight, prowling the sidelines and wrapping up those interviews. Chris, any parting thoughts before we call it a night?
No, I mean, it was an impressive performance here by Fairfield. I mean, it was kind of the game that we expected to play out. However, it seemed like it did take Fairfield a little bit longer to break into the style of game that they expected, I would imagine. But they looked very good. They looked like the team that's one of the top teams in the city. I mean, record aside, 3-0 in the GMC, and they are a serious player. And you gotta give Coach Krause and the Fairfield Indians coaching staff, a round of applause for what they were able to accomplish tonight against this Princeton team. Like we said, that's pretty solid, and you can see what they've got. Unfortunately, it did. Their first game is 5 weeks in at home. So
yep.
But
all right. Well, Chris, it's a pleasure as always. Thanks again to Kyle Evans on the sideline and Jason Dudley in the truck. I'm Glenn Olson. We'll see you next time on ICRC-TV Sports Friday Night Football.